Okay, so I think, are we live? We're live, everybody. We are live.
Yeah, so that person we were talking about, just don't say anything to that person ever.
That's right.
Yeah, that's that's between us. That person is a duty head, and we don't like them.
That way lies insanity, Chris. That way lies insanity. It's good to be back. It's been a couple of weeks. I've realised, well over a week ago, that I tend to spend more time talking about entertainment than I do actually watching it. So for me to manage to get to see the movie we're going to be talking about later on, I had to clear the decks and live like one of the not we, for a little while, and take a young lady to the cinema. And obviously, she wanted to feed afterwards as well. So what can you do? In for a penny, in for a pound. But yes, I'm back. So I joined the human race for a night. Now I'm back with my brethren here to chat. I hope you guys are well. We're already live. We've got Ian as well. Have we got Ian? I think we have. Earth to Ian. He's sort of here, but he's not
icon.
Here. We can see his
Hello.
face.
Sorry, I'm here.
Almost as good. There we are.
Oh,
sorry.
Welcome to Saturday on this Facebook Live. Hello, mate.
Hey
and so
there.
we are. He's got some grub on the
day, of course.
Of course he has.
It's Saturday.
This is what I miss about doing this stuff with him.
He's a mummy's boy.
I'm hungry now.
So we're awaiting the imminent arrival of the rabbi from another planet. He's not coming. He's not coming from Krypton, so I don't expect a crash landing. But to be honest, he always makes enough noise that it sounds like a crash landing. Anyway, where is he? Yes, here he is. There he is. Look.
Oh, hello. I literally just walked in. Ran to get myself something to eat. I just finished my last stream.
Sit down, mate. Sit down.
How you doing? Oh, let me get the light back on. There you go. All the professionals. How you doing? Keith, how you doing? I left Keith a lengthy review of the second episode.
You did.
The second episode of Star Trek Strange New World.
Hey, buddy.
It made me laugh.
Oh, good. I'm glad.
You make my day sometimes. It just
I do that for a lot of
Sometimes.
That's what I'm saying.
How was the Strange New World? So I can't bring myself to watch
It was
that.
strange.
We've had one good episode and one terrible episode.
Okay,
but
so
it wasn't woke. I'll say in this defense, it wasn't woke. It was just like they weren't interested in writing Star Trek. They're interested in writing Friends with a Magic Imp.
So I'm just assuming that the good episode was the sequel to the only good episode they did last season, and then it just runs off the rails. And okay, so it's the reverse. I'm very sad. Okay, so I'll watch that one. I'll just skip the second one.
But they've also got the male-female balance much better this season. Like in these two episodes, one thing that just annoyed me was like, by the way, spoiler warning. They give you a great death scene for.
No, don't say it. Don't say it. I haven't seen it.
But she doesn't die. She's still there. Okay, they did. Listen, don't give me you have been and always will be my friend, and then have your top part come up with no explanation. Right?
Please don't tell me they say that. For the love of okay.
No.
It's raucous already.
For those of you that don't know. I have now had 3 failed attempts to see Superman. The universe hates me.
No.
So I'm going to do something different today. I'm going to be quiet for most of it, aside from my happy ad, which I'm going to introduce in French this week. Other than that, this is what you're going to do. Okay. So between you, you're going to convince me to either see or not see this particular film. Okay. When you get into spoilers, I'm going to run away so you all be happy. That'll be the end of me this week. And then before I leave, I will put this into one of 4 categories based on what I've heard. Okay. So 1, see in the theater. 2, not see in the theater, but pre-order on 4K. 3, wait for it to go in the $5 Blu-ray bin at Walmart because I don't care. Or 4, not see it in any way, which is what happened to the Joker Folly-ish. I'm not going to swear.
You chose right there. You chose wisely. See in the theater. That's my vote. See in the theater.
Yeah.
It's good to have a system, isn't it?
Chris, we promise we won't mention the Batman cameo at the end.
Oh, what? Sorry.
He's hilarious.
What?
Batman.
Oh, whatever. Is it Clooney again? Please don't be Clooney.
No, Adam West via AI.
No, really?
Oh yeah, totally, 100%.
No.
He's right.
Yes, everybody watching on YouTube and Rumble, this could be a lively one. The rabbi's even got, well, it's always the same icon, but it's glowing like kryptonite, which I think is probably our signal to get going and to get out there and to get into it. I would say so. Without further ado, I think it's time to sort of tease and tantalize with a little bit of him. Yeah.
Great story. An old wizard teaching kids tricks with cigarettes.
Cigarettes. I don't like the sound of that. Up and away! Watch me, kids. One puff and they'll soon be in my grasp. If it's a puff you want...
Eat the cocaine! Yeah!
Foiled again! But one thing you can't disguise, kids, the harm cigarettes do to you. That's why I never say yes to a cigarette.
I used to do a 1 to 2 pack or be a 1 to 2 pack a day smoker. I miss it so
really?
much. I don't do it anymore.
I remember that ad.
You're not supposed to
I
say
remember
that.
that too, yeah.
There may be a couple more coming up later on here.
I remember it being on the
Play
back of
cards.
comic books.
Yes, yeah.
Back in
yeah.
the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nicotine. Yeah, I remember that.
Nicotine.
Paid for by the tobacco companies, wasn't it?
Yes, I believe so. And the
Yeah,
UK government.
like William Morris or someone.
The only smoker in our family at the time was my mother, and we used to tease her mercilessly about it. But yeah, this there it is. There's the emblem, the crest, and that can only signify the start of another Spacebook Live. We've all been catapulted to the Earth. This time, all our home worlds have exploded. What were the odds of that? Hey, Gary? But these things happen, don't they? But this is another special live stream for Saturday, the 19th of July, 2025. And this is the big one, or the big S, that a lot of us have been waiting for the last 2.5 years. Here at the Spacebook Live, we have all of Out There Entertainment locked in our sights. But now and again, there are projects which mean you've got to clear the deck. They're of such enormous cultural significance. And we've been waiting for so long. You too, out there on social media, on YouTube and Rumble, wherever you are in the world, you may have a take on this. A lot of people seem to have seen it, and the whole of the world is talking about Superman, it seems. Even the normies. Gary, I love your hat.
Oh, thank you. Of course. I mean, I had to, for this special occasion, of course, I had to go with the big red S.
Big red ass, you
for
say,
it.
yeah.
No, it's the old logo, guys. That's the old
right.
logo.
So I know a couple of girls like that as well. Good to have you back, Ian.
Oh, give him my number.
It's a proper logo, the proper Superman logo. That's what it is.
That's it, the classic ticket. Did you ever have that on your underpants when you were a kid?
No.
Ian?
No, but you know what? Keith brought me for my birthday last year as a Superman cup with the classic logo on there, which I should bring out, I guess. But yeah, that logo is fantastic. I love that logo.
You know, I didn't have that logo on my underwear, but my stains were very similar.
Was it red? Was it?
In fact, red and yellow,
Wow.
right? And blue.
Call your doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and something beginning with
Even
F.
got the,
folks.
even got the.
Look, it's great. It's great to be
entire
back.
Justice League
Oh, look,
today.
Gary's wearing a fabulous Justice League shirt. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic 70s version. Yeah, that.
Larry, you show off. You just sit
I've got,
down, mate.
I've got my pin badge, which is the new logo.
The new logo. Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
I've
good.
got a logo pin badge there, and then
Mm.
I've got the Daily Planet mug.
I
Oh,
love
awesome.
those.
I'll tell you what, they're missing a trick. Do most people hold their mug in their left or their right hand?
Right, usually.
Right.
Because
Depends on the left
they've
or
got
right
on
hand.
the bottom of the mug, they've got the Superman logo, which as I get through the drink, you'll see it's too.
Oh,
hot
show us.
to get- Well, I can't.
Oh, shoot. I was hoping.
What's the time, Keith? What's the time?
What time is it, Keith?
They've printed it the wrong way up. So if you
Have
put
they?
it in your right hand, you turn it, the logo is upside down. And I'm like,
Wow.
there's the trick there, big time. It triggers my OCD, you know, the Institute of Crap Design.
Oh dear.
I'm surprised you haven't custom made your own cut correctly.
Wow, there you go.
You haven't gone to a place where you can print your own.
I must admit they've done a great job with marketing this movie. I've seen several items, with the new insignia, the new crest, which is a combination of the Kingdom Come logo and the more traditional one in the traditional colours, Gary. And they've made it sort of seem like it's been around forever. But I remember those first pictures that first appeared when they started making this movie. People were quite shocked by it, and are they wise to do this? No, I think it's been quite accepted. Really, it's been marketed very well. And because I'd got to quite a cynical place about any kind of merchandise at all, but there are several things where I've sort of added them to my basket, just like the pin badge that Keith has got. I thought, well, that's inconspicuous. This is something that a grown man can get away with wearing. Maybe it's a family function or a social engagement, just to sort of flaunt your geekiness just that little bit.
Dan, they did a on the Shard in London. They right at the top, they had a big thing of Superman in between there.
Oh, that was great.
It was a skull.
I think Dan showed us that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. Look, damn. The thing with the logo is that it's not very good, but everybody knows it's just for this iteration. It's going to be okay. 10 years, I'll have a different one. It's okay. It does the job. Yeah. Is it the best one ever? I don't think so. It's okay. It's not mostly harmless, inoffensive.
Yeah. I mean, it's very clever, because what it means is obviously merchandisers can't get away with selling the old merch.
That's true. You're all right.
Even if you buy something like a Daily Planet mug, you've still got the new logo on the box. Even if it's not featured on something like a T-shirt or whatever. But I have to point out, and Ian will laugh at this, but it is true. The Arrowverse did this first.
They did.
They had Brandon Rolfe in, and originally he had he had the Kingdom Come black logo.
He did,
That's right. At the end of that episode, he's more optimistic again, and you see him do the famous fly up over the earth and pan, and he had the Kingdom Come logo in the classic colours like this. So James Gunn, you weren't the first. Yeah. Greg Berlanti and his team were. So just pointing that out.
Him. And that's a smile off his face.
There's even some Arrowverse. I love the Arrowverse call outs in this. The Big Belly Burger and the Jitters coffee and everything. And that's from the Arrowverse. So
I noticed the Jitters coffee. There's all little bits and pieces here and there. My taste has sort of changed when it comes to merchandise, because I used to go more so for I had the T-shirt with the big logo and the big poster. But I'm starting to lean towards those in-universe things, like Keith's Daily Planet mug, the kind of thing you'd see on the set or something. Yeah, I think they're slightly more subtle, a bit more tasteful.
It's like Jurassic Park did back in the day, wasn't it? Jurassic Park was genius because the whole marketing was actually in the film.
They had them in offices, didn't they?
In universe, and I thought that was really cool.
Is that the mug that Lois Lane was using in the film?
I believe so. Although
that's great.
Clark Kent written on the side.
That's great.
But as I said, you'll see when I tip it up, when it's a bit more empty, that the logo on the bottom is upside down.
It's good to have you. It's good to have everybody back, of course, including the mighty Bolstrek, known for his rants. I know you're not very pleased that you've tried to make it to the cinema on 3 occasions to see this, but we may manage to cheer you up at some point through the next.
Well, yes. Added reference, don't smoke, kids. I quit smoking a long time ago, and look at how happy I am.
Whenever we want to get on Chris's sunnier side, though, I think all we usually have to do is to show him a pooch of some kind. Fortunately, there'll be lots of talk of dogs on this edition of the show as we get into DC's.
I love Superman. The puppy. Puppies make me happy. People suck, but puppies are awesome.
People do. Some people.
We don't suck.
Yeah.
No. Dogs are better.
You
right?
do.
You don't deserve dogs.
Thanks, mate.
Dogs are better than people.
They just suck up love and give it. They are the most wonderful animals. I like cats too. Dogs are awesome.
Okay. I like cats.
See, Chris, this is why you should go see this in the theater for no reason, other reason alone, other than crypto, because all of his best stuff, and I mean all of his best stuff, is not even in the trailer.
Right, I agree.
And so just for that alone, you should go see this in the theater.
I will.
I think
I'm convinced I'll go see it for the puppy. Yes, the entire movie could suck, but you throw a puppy in it, and I will like it.
One of the blessings of this, like a more general thing, something that I found refreshing after recent years, and because it's that I stay away from so many trailers. You know, I tend to watch the first one, if any at all, to get a general feel for the atmosphere of something, because they usually give so much away. But with this, any of the footage that we'd seen, really, in the broader media, in teaser trailers and things like that, was only in the first 20 or 30 minutes of the movie. Which I don't know whether to see that as a vote of confidence, or I don't know if there was some sort of really inept practical reason for it. But either way,
no, I think it was a good idea. It was
really,
great.
it really works, doesn't it? And obviously, advertising.
I knew. Like,
Advertising
if I
has
went
been.
nothing, I would have found it much better. By the way, this ad, which I think is excellent, but I think all the marketing really, it's not. I said it wasn't personally done by James Gunn, but you can very much tell that James Gunn is the CEO of this universe, of this world, because I find the person who's in charge of any office, the whole office, and everything they do takes on that personality. Right? I think this is very much James Gunn's personality, the quirkiness of it, the humor, and the fun.
It's unabashed. It's larger than life, and it's very family orientated. I think it's the kind of thing a child would draw, or a stance they would adopt in this case. And wouldn't it be cool if Superman was suspended from the Shard, or we were driving down the road? I was in the back of my dad's car, and I just looked out of the passenger's side window, and there was Superman reminding me that his film was out on July the 11th. I think it was released the same time all over the world as well, which is another blessing. I know that those windows have squashed quite a lot in recent years, haven't they, Keith? But still, you know, with the curse of social media, we don't want, whichever territory you're in, because sometimes Britain gets these things first, we don't want to have separated viewing experiences, do we? Because then we can't get together and talk about it.
No, I'm glad. We're now blessed in a world where we have almost simultaneous release schedules for streaming stuff and movies, which is great. Because I remember the days where you had to wait, you know, a year later or whatever in some cases.
Oh, I remember that.
Media. And the same with home media.
How much was Indiana Jones out, The Temple of Doom, in England after it was in, or Superman 3? I remember watching Entertainment USA. Which was it had this lengthy Superman 3 ad in it, just to watch that ad, right? And it came out like what, a year later. You're right, 6 months.
Well, summer movies would always
physical media as well. Its turnaround is so much quicker now. I mean,
the thing is, though, right? We didn't really worry about stuff like that because there was no such thing as the internet. If we were being bombarded by, you know, clips from the film and America got it first before, and we had to wait 6 months, we would have been.
I knew about it.
No, but we would have been a lot more bothered. But
you wouldn't get to school or college, would you, Ian, and find that somebody had already seen it?
Exactly. So
look, I knew about it. I'm the sort of guy who'll phone up the BBC Doctor Who production office or like Granada production office to ask them what the next episodes of Sherlock Holmes would be, and they'd just be like, "Oh, sure, I'll tell you." Like I had no problem doing that stuff. But I knew I was really livid in the amount of time it took.
By the way, see what I mean? Upside down logo. Look.
Let's have a look.
Oh, you're right. There you go.
They've missed a trick, haven't they?
They sincerely have.
You know, one quick thing before we move away from the trailer. I actually, in retrospect, really appreciate what they did in the trailer, you know, front loading it with just the early scenes in the movie, because so often these days, trailers are nothing but a disincentive to actually go see the actual movie. Why should you drop $10, $12, $15 for a movie that you've already seen? I mean, in 3 minutes for free.
They do. More often than not, they do put the best bits in the trailer. But I quite often come away from them thinking, well, no, I won't bother. Or just like Chris was saying earlier on, I think I'll wait. I think I'll watch it streaming instead, or I think I'll do this. Or if there's something I've made up my mind, I think I'm going to buy, I can completely and utterly change my mind about it or go on a bit of a rant because they've done something creative that I don't appreciate. I mean, it's not that I want everything to be sanitized and everything to be the same the whole world over. All cultures are important and traditions too. And vive la différence, Chris. I always say when I can pronounce it. That is, and we enjoy sort of comparing cultures on this show, don't we? In fact, particularly when it comes to other things that have kept us safe over the generations, namely those public service announcements that we like to talk about so much. And you've been creating them very well over the recent months, haven't you? And I'm happy to say that you haven't spared us this time in Superman's honor. We still get another slice of the good stuff, don't we? So, do you want to tell us what we're in for this time?
Hello, everyone. We're going to learn about road safety today. And in honor of my very angry neighbor province of Quebec, since this is French, we'll do this in French. Et maintenant, depuis le Québec, cette province qui déteste le reste du Canada, ce qui est parfaitement compréhensible, à ce stade, nous vous apportons un autre message sur la sécurité routière. Préparez-vous à du sang et du carnage. Cet homme et cette femme sépartant ont passé une très mauvaise journée.
I'll have two.
Yes. Roll it, Dan.
Here we go.
Yes, this is another fantastic public service film.
Lucie Paquette est entrée dans ma vie par un bel après-midi ensoleillé.
Oh God.
Et elle n'en est jamais ressortie. Et elle n'en est jamais ressortie.
60 km/h, seulement 10 km/h au-dessus de la limite permise. Cet accident-là était inévitable. Même avec les meilleurs freins au monde, de bons réflexes, une bonne voiture, vous certifie que c'était impossible à cette vitesse-là d'arrêter à temps. Regardez bien. Les conducteurs aperçoivent les mannequins en même temps à 31 mètres. Ils freinent. L'auto de droite s'arrête à temps, celle de gauche frappe à 42 km/h.
Elle n'en est jamais ressortie. Jamais ressortie.
Wow.
There we go. So that
I love the twitch. I love the twitch when she was on the ground. Oh dear.
George Romero, homage.
Yeah.
Who
Very
needs horror?
violent. Incredibly violent.
Very colourful
Earlier
this
this-
time, Chris.
Well, earlier this week, I was rewatching the Final Destination movies because I got Bloodlines on 4K, and I'm going to be watching that tonight.
Great movie.
But so I was watching Final Destination. I'm like, because the reason that we love those movies are because of the death scenes, and you never know exactly what's going to happen. And I realized Canadian PSAs are Final Destination death scenes because you don't know what's going to happen. You just know that something terrible is coming up. So yeah, this will be my my only useful addition to this week's stream.
Oh no, actually, Chris, I got one more thing where you can certainly do. Right, you can be horrified by like this news I'm going to give you. Right, I enjoyed the Superman movie, right, and I wanted to watch more Superman, and I really couldn't find anything. Right, I didn't really want to watch the Zack Snyder one. I like Justice League, you know, his like a lot.
Watch the original ones.
Yeah. Well, no, and I wanted to see something kind of modern in color, whatever. So I finally ended on this Superman cartoon, and I'm like, oh yeah, they were good, right? I found them all on Apple for $25, right? There's a whole thing in 4K for $25 to get the DVD. I think it's $60 and plus delivery. Man, it's like I'm illegally downloading them and keeping them as well, obviously, because like now I feel I own them, right? But like, you know, you can't argue with the economics of that. That is really going to change the physical media world, I think.
At some point, not this week, but yes, I will do an update on physical media and the good news and the bad news. But I will never pay any dirty company any of my hard-earned money to buy their streaming crap. I'll put on my Captain Jack hat.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
that's very convenient. That's the other thing.
No, it's I want my artwork, and I want the experience of taking my shiny disc and putting it in my shiny player and hearing it boot up and pressing play and then being happy, because we don't get a lot of joy in life, and that's like my joy. So yeah.
Let's not make him sad again just yet, or we'll have to do this, won't we? Have to keep flashing up the good boy.
I'm
happy.
we love crypto.
You look at it, yes. So one hero and another hero. Bring back the heroes we've been saying on this show for a really long time. Is James Gunn capable of bringing back the heroes, or has he delivered the ultimate Marmite movie experience? Maybe we'll get to the bottom of some of that on this edition of the show. It's not the first word by any stretch of the imagination. People have been talking about this for 7, 8, 9 days. I think that's going to carry on for the foreseeable future as well. But we can get in there with our solid takes. Can't wait to get started.
You sign a lot of autographs?
Oh, yeah, you?
Some. They asked me to bend stuff a lot.
I can see that. What?
It's Lois. She's in trouble.
Did you look through that building?
Well, kind of. It's glass. Lois!
Superman, I've forgotten my wallet.
I can't carry money in this. I'm powerless.
I'm not.
My hero.
You can do more with the American Express card. Could you? It's for my kid.
And here we are. Everything comes to those who wait. It seems we've been waiting for a really long time. Teaser image after teaser image, teaser trailer, then trailers and reels and all manner of things. We've had outrage and hysteria on the right, and we've had placard waving and nonsense as always on the left. This is 2025 after all, but lots to be nourished by. I think enough of the old school present in what we were teased with earlier on, particularly last year when things started to come together. If you're an animal lover, they definitely led with Crypto, a live action debut for Superman's longest standing four-legged friend of the Superman family. So that's just for starters. But of course, Superman himself is the icon, the legend, the emblem that's decorated millions, if not billions, of pairs of underpants, but a standard, a cultural standard that's recognized the entire world over, but obviously predominantly a huge American icon. Truth, justice, the American way, wrapped in the stars and stripes, either literally or figuratively, Gary. I would imagine it forms a considerable part of the American identity, and since the first comic appearance in April 1938, obviously it's been adapted over and over again to not just to cinema, but to radio, to TV, and then exploited and expanded and refined in the way that we're looking at Keith's pin and his mug and everything else as the ages have continued, really, in that relationship between not just what's on the cinema screen and the cinema audience, but between the people who develop these IPs and maintain them and endure them, and people like us, unabashed and total geeks. Keith, obviously it's good to have you back on as well, Keith. It's been a little while. You're the master of a home media minefield, and we've spoken about Superman so many times. Much of us are of a similar generation, aren't we? And of course, it's understandable if we have a different relationship with Superman than the people who live in America itself, because he's not ours as such, is he? But when you're a child and you see things, or you read them, and they form these sort of fundamental impressions on you, it's part of that shared experience, isn't it? It's not, I wouldn't go so far as to say it's biblical, Rabbi, but it is the standards and the edicts, I suppose, have kind of softly informed us.
It's not biblical, but it's one of the most central myths that supports our culture, right? And our culture is much more unified now than it was, in 1979. We have one release date, right? We basically have one world, right? Oh, yeah, one Western world. So I don't know. I think it's incredibly important, to be honest with you. it's been, I think, a long time since Superman excuse me, has led the DC cinematic universe. It's been basically Batman since '89. And I kind of like the world that that a Superman-led DC universe will be like. Right, I'm interested in what a Batman will be like in that, like not in, like in daylight, right? I really like the world they set up and they built. I'm interested to see it more. The things they've showed me that they're gonna be to show me more. I'm very interested now because of this movie, like Supergirl.
Do you think this brashness, though? You talked about the advertising a moment ago, but this sort of brashness and the way it's been rolled out indicates a shift, almost like the plates are shifting away from darkness into light culturally. Because we're seeing this across movies. I think escapism is very much on the way back, but there's so much riding on this one. Chris has talked about it a few times. It's not just a superhero universe, connected universe, cinematic universe that's riding on this. The entire fortunes of Warner Brothers could be riding on it, couldn't they, Chris?
Yes, actually, I'm going to see what the box office update was, because for what I found
when I last looked here, I've got it here. When I last looked, it was sitting at 337 million global box office, and they expect to hit 400 million. By this time tomorrow, as of time of recording, so that will be same midday on Sunday.
That's a pretty good box office.
Although it needs to sustain it over the weekend. This has to be $1 billion film. So I
don't think there are $1 billion films anymore. I think that's over. I don't think there are any $1 billion films anymore. I think there hasn't, if they're lucky.
There hasn't been a film, I think, with this level of excitement since. You could say
I'd say Star Wars: The Force Awakens myself.
Yeah, Mission Impossible, or no, Mission Impossible. No, that I think that bombed. Top Gun: Maverick was $1 billion. Oppenheimer was just under $1 billion.
I think that was on the tail end. We live in a post-apocalyptic cinema universe. They killed it.
Well, also,
right? I feel
that regardless of the success of numerous films in recent years, that, for example, I think they were quite conservative in how they marketed Top Gun: Maverick. I don't think they necessarily expected it to be the huge mainstream hit that it was, whereas this has been rolled out. The punters have been aggressively courted all over the world, out on tour. Wherever people are living in the world, there's been lavish premieres, red carpet affairs, huge sort of standing sculptures, just like Ian was saying, and installations literally everywhere. And I think, well, how could you possibly redefine one single character in one fictional universe for everybody on the planet at the same time? The truth is probably that you can't. But if you've got one individual at the sort of dead center of it, Ian, you're a creative man, you tell stories yourself. If you have to be confident and bold and have a distinctive creative vision, it doesn't guarantee success, but it's probably the best possible swing that anybody can take. And I think when you bring in somebody like James Gunn, who I've always been a little bit on the fence about, to tell you the truth, to be a writer, director, and producer of a project like this, you're making a pretty big swing with a property that, if it's a success, it's going to make you a shit ton of money. If it's a failure, nobody's ever going to forgive you.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Is that a question? Was that a question?
Maybe. It's whatever you want it. It's whatever you want it. It's whatever you want it to be. Really. I mean, I'm talking about sort of any creative really who would get their hands on something like this. It's like when people get offered Bond or offered acting roles. They say, well, how could I be the bloke that turned it down? Or I would imagine when you're offered something like this, you might sort of go, and gulp and swallow and think, oh God, but could you move on with your career, Keith, knowing you'd be the person that had turned it down?
Well, I mean, James Gunn is what. When you look at this film, it's about a man who is cancelled basically, and gets all his friends around him to uncancel him. I wonder what that.
Yeah.
I agree, honestly. I really like the moral center of this movie.
Yeah.
Right. I think the being anti-Twitter, saying Twitter's a bad thing, and like gossiping is a bad thing. is a good thing. I think
I mean,
it's something we haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, even though it's set in a world that's far removed from ours, at the same time, the commentary on social media and how the media can change people's minds in an instant was quite staggering in this, I think. And I don't want to say too much because I'm conscious I don't want to spoil anything for Chris, so I'm being a bit reserved about some of
let me know as soon as you want to get into spoilers.
In all truth, I do agree with the rabbi. I think even though people, obviously we use social media to do those kinds of things now, to have those conversations, people have always gossiped, talking out of school, talking out of turn. I think deceit as well, the kind of deceit that we tell ourselves is kind of harmless. That can sort of build up, can't it? And that can damage a culture, a society over time, harm a dream. The thing that I loved about this was unabashedly, Superman is seen to represent the American dream, Gary.
Yeah, one of the many things I love about this movie is that the character is played, and the tone of the movie, it's very true to the character, which is a lot of the problems that I had with the Man of Steel, because I think in a lot of ways that wasn't true to the character of Superman. James Gunn doesn't try to make, he focuses on the fundamentals. He doesn't try to make Superman something that he's not. He doesn't try to bend him to adapt the character for our cynical, modern age. It's about Superman helping people, about wanting to help the planet, to be kind to people, to be a symbol for hope. And that's what the strength of the character has always been. And that's what Gunn focuses on. The whole American way, the Truth, Justice, and American Way, that wasn't part of the 1938 comics iteration. That phrase first appeared in a 1942 radio show, which was, of course, less than a year after the U.S. was dragged into the war, and patriotism was at its height. And so it's very natural that you would have a character with this kind of symbology to focus on truth, justice, the American way, because that's what the American mindset at that point was all about.
They made such a big deal about that. I don't even remember them not saying it in the movie. Right? I never heard truth, justice. Everyone made a big deal of not saying truth, justice, the American way. I don't remember not saying it.
No, it didn't. It's like, so I saw somebody criticizing the fact that we never once saw Superman in this movie. I mean, let's get these things out of the way first. We never once saw Superman wave the stars and stripes. Didn't we? Because to me, I can't imagine a film more American than this. It's positively grizzled in Americana. Everything from the music
America.
to the touchdowns.
That's the other thing. It likes America and it likes being American, right? Which is nice. It should like it, right? It wasn't like hating its own society.
What a novel idea.
Nice.
And I just want to really quickly, it's interesting and I think kind of tragic also in a way that a lot of the things that I think this Superman stands for, if this movie had been made 10, 15 years ago, everybody would just accept it outright. It's like, great, he's here for hope. He wants to help people and it's all great. But because a lot of the kind of old-fashioned values that Gunn is promoting in this movie is coming out now, it's getting all the social media flack, which just shows, I think, how much the world has changed, not the character.
Yes.
I mean, again, don't want to sort of spoil too much, but the thing I thought, there was one thing I thought was incredibly unrealistic, and then literally it sunk in, and I thought, no, that is so realistic. And that was like how quickly everyone turned, at the reveal. And I was like, wow. But then I thought, no, actually, that is probably very realistic. It just shows you the power of social media in the world.
In the age of cancel culture, Keith, you can hear completely unprovable rumors about somebody. It's sort of over breakfast, and by 3 o'clock they've lost every contract that they've got in the entertainment industry. We're talking about all these sort of standards and very sort of modern problems, or modern versions of human problems, you could say, and edicts and ethos and mythology and all these things. But the truth of the matter is that Superman is still about a bloke who flies around in quite a silly costume, punching airplanes and smacking the living shit out of giant lizards and all that kind of thing.
Can I just beg James Gunn, please redesign the costume for the second one? We'll forget it, okay? Yes, that's the only downside was the costume. Just redesign it. One thing I liked about this version of Superman was that David Cornsweet was very much playing it like a large child in a good way, right? I think he was very relatable to 12-year-old boys, right? And I think they could very much put themselves.
That sounds not good.
Black and white. Well, not that way. I'm just saying
that's another franchise, Ian.
There's a famous clip they put out.
What you're saying is right. At the moment, we've got this thing in Britain whereby Keir Starmer, the Prime Minister, the dreaded Keir Starmer, is trying to give 16-year-olds the vote, and I think,
dear God,
and we know why that is. We know why that is. It's because
vote for reform.
Yeah.
No, he believes that because everybody's far left wing at that age, and more to the point, people, just as you say, people view things in a very black and white way when they're of that age. There's a purity to it and a way in which they think the world should be.
Going to do well with that. Let me tell you, they're the ones who's going to do well with that, not Labour. Labour isn't cool. Reform is.
That was actually, Dan, the one thing. If I had to pick the one thing that I thought was most, I applauded most in this film, it was that the Clark Kent in this movie was operated with very kind of black and white morality. He didn't see things in shades of gray. He was certain about his perception of right and wrong, and if something was right, you do it regardless of political blather and all of this, and just very straightforward. And to me, I applauded that. I mean, this felt, again, like I was watching like a 90s comic, like by Dan Jurgens, the old Adventures of Superman and stuff. This felt exactly like that to me.
It's the triangle era put on screen of the comics. I mean, but just going back to what you were just saying, though, Rabbi. A few years ago, they put out a film of Shazam. Now, I enjoyed the bulk of the last lot of DC movies. In all fairness, I did. But I was particularly taken with Shazam. And Zachary Levi, who played Zachary Levi, who played Shazam. I watched that movie and I really enjoyed it. But the drawback, after I watched it, I thought, well, what did I like about this? And it was many of the things that yourself and Gary have just pointed to about this movie. And so after I watched Shazam, I thought, I really, really love that. But because they've got Shazam to do that now, this means they'll never do this with Superman, and that's a shame. In many ways.
I did like how Superman had a cameo at the end of the first Shazam. That was fun.
The same.
Yeah, but went nowhere.
Yeah. Literally a boy who gets transformed into a superhero in that. And we get a version of a similar sort of thing here. But before we talk too much about him, if you haven't seen it, here's a little bit of David Cornsweet in action as Superman in this fabulous, completely and utterly fan-made trailer.
Superman. The most powerful being on planet Earth. I'll destroy you.
Good luck with that.
Make a move, Deep Blue.
Yeah.
God bless fan-made trailers for getting us out of a copyright strike. So this is a journey where Clark Kent, as Superman, reconciles his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing whilst navigating a world that doesn't always share his values. It says the film, set in a newly imagined DC universe, emphasizes a Superman driven by compassion and a belief in humanity's inherent goodness. It's on for 2 hours or so in local cinemas right now. Not all of us have been to see it, but most of us have. Let's start. Who should we start with? Let's start with you, Gary, as the resident native American. Not in that way. as the resident American, you sound pretty upbeat about this. You've clearly been waiting for a while. I know you read the comics. You just mentioned the Dan Jurgens stuff. The 90s was a very specific time for Superman. Very, very storied. Does this mean you liked it?
I loved it. I walked out with a big smile on my face. And Chris, when you go see it, you do have to stay at the very end. There's a terrific mid-credit scene as well as a really good post-credit scene.
Oh yeah, I always.
Gunn made the great decision to have a character named Gary in the movie, so I was actually already predisposed to like it. Just off the top of my head, I love the fact that we dispense with the origin because, as we referred to before, everybody already knows his origin. We don't need to rehash it for the 15th time like Spider-Man.
Thank God.
These characters already know each other already. They already have a chemistry. Let's get on with it. They got the main thing exactly right, which is the heart of the movie is Superman and Lois, and they got that pitch perfect. Rachel Brosnahan, to me, is the best Lois ever. I was actually never, confession, I was never like in love with Margot Kidder's Lois Lane because because there's sometimes where her character came like that in Lois. But this Lois, it's like you can tell, okay, this is a woman who, like she says, is a little bit punk rock. She probably has a cupboard full of Pulitzers already, which she's gotten. We already know that. We already know all these characters. So let's just get on with the story about the characters. And that was really great. I did have a problem we'll get into later with at first how they depicted Lex, but as far as the Justice Gang, I want Nathan Fillion was great. I want a Mr. Terrific movie next week. I will say also that the one thing I'm sure of is that Jimmy Olsen in this movie is clinically insane. When you have a woman like Eve Tessmacher in this movie throwing herself at you, you just go with it.
That was the gag of the movie. Like all the women loved him.
Yeah, I get the impression that he had gone with it, Rabbi, and that he was now sort of he'd ghosted her, and this was the sort of the after effect.
He didn't like her toes or something like that.
He was the Marty McFly version of Jimmy Olsen. I don't know whether anybody else felt that.
Yes,
I really got Marty McFly vibes from him. I was like, oh, this is weird.
Keith, in recent years, I've ducked every Marvel Studios film, and there's even a backlog of. I've always been a DC guy. I prefer DC movies, but there's a backlog of DC films that I haven't got round to either. I don't know if I'd got superhero fatigue or not. But I found that a lot of those movies, particularly the Marvel ones, were clocking in like 2.5 hours. And even the ones that were a little bit shorter felt like a real chore for me. But in the case of Superman, I couldn't believe that this was 2 hours long. It seemed to just whiz by for me. What was your experience? Faster than a speeding train, just like mine.
Who are you asking that?
Keith.
Oh yeah, well, okay. Here's the thing. I don't actually think 2 hours was long enough for this.
I agree.
And the reason I say that, and people are going to not like this, but I've got really, really complicated feelings about this. I've seen it twice. I've seen it in 3D IMAX and normal, and I want to love it. There are things about it I love. I mean, I think the casting is absolutely spot on. I've got no problem with the cast at all. However, I do have problems with the film. All right. So I obviously grew up with Christopher Reeve's Superman, and since then we've had sort of 3 reboots, I guess, in my adult life. With Superman Returns, Man of Steel, and now this. Right. And this is the first film in 47 years that has had the title Superman. Okay. But I I felt a more appropriate title for this should have been DC Universe the movie, because
or the original title Superman Legacy.
Well, I just think that there was okay. So we're all somewhat of geeks or nerds or whatever on this particular podcast at the moment. I mean, Ian's even called the Mega Geek, right? So, but I'm not sure, and I guess for 12-year-old boys and stuff, which it's aimed at, maybe. But I think to myself, for a normie audience, okay, for a general audience, how accessible is this? And what I mean
totally.
No, well, I don't know, because
okay, I'll prove to you it is.
You're gonna let me.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
Can we just let Keith make his point?
Yeah. So, I agree. We don't need a full-on origin story. Okay, but I would have liked to have seen more of Secret Identity Clark Kent. We only had one scene of Clark Kent in his glasses. Glasses Clark Kent.
Yeah.
In the whole film. Yes, they've set up all of the characters at the Daily Planet, but apart from Lois and Jimmy, the rest of them, I mean, we got Wendell Pierce as Perry White, we had Cat Grant, we had Steve, what's the guy's name?
Lombard.
Lombard. We had them all in there with absolutely nothing to do. I guess they're going to do things in future movies. And then I know who Mr. Terrific is and whatever, because I watched nearly 10 years of the Arrowverse, right? I invested in that.
Yeah.
But I thought to myself, if I hadn't seen that, I'd be sat there thinking, who's this weirdly dressed black dude with the spheres? What's all that about? Green Lantern stuff. Again, I knew the Hal Jordan, the now infamous Ryan Reynolds films, the character. So I understood sort of how the ring and how the power and all that works. But, and of course, Hawk Girl was also in Arrowverse, right? But I think to myself, if I didn't know any of that, I'd be just trying to play catch up. Like, who the hell are all these people? I don't understand. You know how
normies look at people don't need to know where they came from. You know what normies, in my view, how normies relate to this, because I went to see with a normie. When normies see this, they just see some superheroes. Oh, that one can fly. That one's got a gadget.
Exactly. Nobody cares about the secret origins for any of these.
But I wanted to see when I go and see Superman movie, I want to see Superman, and I felt like he was a secondary character in his own movie. I mean, the fact that there wasn't Clark scenes, I was like, "What's Clark?"
I agree with you about the Clark stuff.
There were great scenes with his parents. Don't get me wrong, I like that, and I like the different take on the parents. We've gone a very different way with that, and I thought that was good. But
what Holland's alive,
and also there were some scenes that had some real heart, right? Really beautiful scenes. Between Clark and Lois, and between
because he was Clark in those scenes, but he was Clark in those scenes, but he wasn't wearing the glasses, was he?
Exactly. But everything is undercut with some stupid gag, James Gunn gag thing at the end. Snarky one-liner or whatever that undercut everything. And I had a lot of problem. I enjoyed the film overall, and I was glad to see we've got this back and all this, but it comes with loads of I've got loads of problems with the narrative of this, loads of problems.
Keith, what did you think of the interview scene? Because I thought that was a pretty brave choice to have like an extended 10-minute dialogue scene so early in the movie.
I wanted more of that. I wanted more of that and less interdimensional imps being knocked by a giant club outside of a window, distracted. I don't know. And I could have done with less crypto, to be honest.
Blasphemer!
These are the things. These are the things now. I think we're speaking. I think these are the things we're now speaking of, which are going to be really a matter of subjective tastes. Where a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that. But I think the things that some of the things you're circling, I had noticed, and some of them I hadn't, and some of them I wasn't keen on either. I came away from this kind of feeling similarly, having really, really enjoyed it, but thinking this won't be for everyone because it's so distinctive. I'm not a James Gunn fan. I haven't even seen that third Guardians film. It's all just far, far too much for me. And I was worried he was going to do the same here. His voice didn't drown it out for me, but again, I accept that's going to be different for the individual. And I didn't pick up on too many of the jokes. I felt he dialed up the more kind of the I won't call it schmaltzy, but kind of like Gary was saying, that the heart. So that was in my case that was a happy surprise. But there were other things that I had a problem within it as well. They just weren't all the same things that you did.
They made a lot of very good creative choices that offset the. I hear what you're saying. He does somewhat get lost in the movie. Would I like a director's cut with an extra half hour of him being Superman? Yeah. I'm not gonna. You're not crazy, right? Okay, I hear that. I just feel the creative choices they made are really clever, like making a younger Superman. Like he's only been dating. He's at the perfect point in his life. I like he was dating Lois for like 3 months. They were about to break up. Right, I like this era of Superman in his life. Right, I think it's a more innocent, fun movie. And honestly, I just find that the benefits vastly outweigh the minuses. Right, I like the innocence of it. I like the innocence of the character. I had fun. I'm watching. Oh yeah, so I watched it with my wife. Right. Loved it. Didn't give two shits about who anybody was. They're like, okay, it's black guy with balls. Okay, it doesn't matter. It's not a bit matter.
They're just characters in funny suits.
Shit. That's all it is. And it's like, and at the end of the movie, she said, I think that's the sweetest Superman movie I've ever seen.
Wow.
Like she liked the robot. She liked Crypto. She liked the schmaltzy watching the Facebook memories at the end. She wasn't bothered by possible law changes. Like none of it. She just wanted to be entertained. Like the Star Trek movie, the first of the reboot Star Trek movies did. We just went to movies and they were entertained by something. And they're like, oh yeah, I'll do that again. That's fine. All right. But I think it was also cleverly put together because it's really designed to lure my daughter in, who's like mid-20s. Right, and if she goes to see it, which she probably will because of the dog, she'll almost certainly go and see it, Supergirl next year because of something that transpires in this, right? And yeah, I like expanding the universe for a new audience without destroying your central property, which this didn't do. Like, I mean, it just did so much right. I was like, come on,
yeah. Wasn't it a relief to see Superman knocking 7 bells out of things and giving as good as he got, and you really did feel like this was action packed. I mean, I didn't. To me, Superman. To me, it seemed like he was in it all the way through, and absolutely the focus of this film, even in the scenes that he wasn't in. Whoever was speaking seemed to be talking about him. It seemed to be about him. So I respect your take on it, Keith. I was surprised. Maybe when I see it again, I'll feel differently. But the whack and pow sort of aspect of it, I think there'll be enough in here to get the kids sort of waving their action figures in the air and sort of crashing them into one another with both hands like that, Ian, which has been so sorely lacking. I took my kids; they were of the age where I took them to see Brandon Routh in Superman Returns in particular, and again with Man of Steel. One of my sons was obsessed with Superman. And I remember he actually turned around to me once, he was only about 7, and said, but he didn't fight anyone, Daddy. And now, okay, he's in his 20s now. I wouldn't expect he'd say that to me either way. But I think I've only listened to come out 20 years ago. Ian, you've been to see, I gather. What was your experience? You know, could you have done with another half an hour more, or could you have done with half an hour or an hour less? What's your take on this after all this time?
Drama is about to ensue, folks.
It was rubbish.
There we go. That's my Ian.
Absolute nonsense.
I love you, buddy.
The main reason why I didn't like it was because Gunn took the man out of Superman, Superman was a whiny 13-year-old. He got beaten to pulp in every fight. He didn't win any fight. Some people say he won the fight at the ending, but I went to see it again, and he didn't. A bus came out of nowhere and hit Ultraman, and he went into the black hole. Superman, for me, is not this at all. The dog spoilt it a lot for me. The idea that Superman is this kind of character doesn't work with me at all. Unfortunately for me, I have to go and see it on Sunday because
You want to see it again?
Yeah, my nieces, because everybody wants to see this film with me.
I've had 3 failed attempts, and you get to see it 3 times.
No, I've seen it.
How much they like it.
Everyone wants to see this movie with me. I'm not kidding. I've got 10 people.
That's awful. Why
wants to go. Ian, you're going to come see Superman with me? Yeah, I want to see. I want to see it with Keith. Wait, I want to see it with Keith, right? And Keith knows how.
You should hire yourself out. I want to see it with Keith.
Do you know what?
God, your pain is my pleasure, mate. Oh, that 100%.
Ian absolutely went off on one.
Do you know what? Do you know what? Right?
Absolutely shouted.
Seriously, this movie.
About what?
If you allow me to speak, right? Because you guys have had a chance to speak. I'm not going to go hard into this movie. Keith knows how I feel about this movie. This is an insult to Superman fans, I believe, right? And again, right? Yeah, again, right? Superman did not win any fight at all. He came across as a whiny 13-year-old with no experience, even though he's a grown-ass man. It's ridiculous. The whole film is ridiculous, right? The whole idea of do you want to turn off your sound there, Chris, at the ending when so-and-so turns up and calls him a bitch? Do you know what I mean? It's just, seriously, the whole thing is just nonsense. The whole thing. I was so looking forward to this movie. Unfortunately, again, right, our suspicions of this movie all came true. It all came true. You know what, right? Gunn is a lefty. And that's exactly what he did to Superman. He demasculated Superman all the way through this movie. I will stop there because I know a lot of people are getting angry in the right, whatever. I will just stop there. So
I don't understand. I'm not getting angry, but I don't understand. To me, he was incredibly heroic. And
no, he wasn't. No, he wasn't.
Well, in my view, he was incredibly heroic, and he came away a winner. In one way or shape or form, certainly by the end.
He had to be rescued all the time.
Trials, no, but the trials that he faced.
Tell me one fight that he won.
Throughout the film.
Dan, tell me one fight that he won.
It depends what you call. It depends what you call win.
Yes,
I think that
yes,
it was
Mr. Terrific won loads of fights, right?
I think it was. I think it was set up in a I think it was.
Hold on.
I think it was set up in a dramatic way to show somebody kind of on the back foot.
No. But
in Ian, in the opening,
you brought me here
crawl,
to speak, Dan, right? And I want to speak.
And
right?
let me make my point, if you may. So in the opening,
I thought it was my turn.
In the opening, I'm pointing, Ian. I'm pointing something out to you to give back to you. I've done this before. So in the opening crawl, he says there's the data on the screen. It says like 3 centuries ago this happened, 3 years ago that happened, 3 days ago, and he's been beaten for the first time. So they do lay out the drama from that point, very purposefully.
But right, we don't see him win. Right, the whole point of a movie, the 3 steps of writing a screenplay, is that the hero wins, then he falls, then he gets up again, and then the climax is that he wins. Right, to show Superman not winning one fight is kind of stupid as far as I'm concerned. Right, seriously, this movie annoyed me so much that I just thought, "Hey, I'm speaking. Come on."
Still, I thought you took.
It is my turn, pal. It's my turn to speak. So please let me speak. Okay, right. So this movie annoys me so much, right? That seriously, I really don't want to go and see it on Sunday with my nephews. I really don't. But I have to. But if I see it again, maybe I might see something that I like. Who knows? I don't know.
No. I want you to keep watching it and keep hating it.
I was well aware watching it. I was well aware.
I'm happy for that to be your fate.
I was well aware when I left the cinema watching this wouldn't be for everyone, and I think that there are people out there who would have been perhaps glad of a movie that spanned those 3 years where Superman wins over and over and over again. But I also feel that in some senses, whilst we didn't really get that with Man of Steel, we probably have those stories are out there for us to either read or watch in various forms, or even in the original Christopher Reeve movie. I think people have seen that. And I don't know if and I'm not saying this as a definite thing, because I'm still doing a bit of soul searching about this myself. I'm unsure if that would have been enough now, not necessarily for a modern audience, but for an audience who have seen a lot of superhero movies and a lot of stories about heroism as well. That's my kind of, and I'm still, I see what you're saying, Ian, up to a point. But I do believe it was something that they did purposely, which, as I said, isn't going to be for everyone. So I think how you've taken it is perfectly valid. But I do wonder, would there have been an audience, particularly of normies?
Well, actually, before we head off, so I'm going to let you guys get into spoilers. Because, so I was going to hang out for the first hour and then skedaddle so you can discuss specific points. I will see it. Based on what I've heard of the good things and the bad things, and do a verdict. So yes, I would like to say, fare thee well, fellow friends. Rabbi, Keith,
hearing you.
Okay, well, we do hope that you succeed in seeing it in the near future, Chris. Thanks for joining us.
So yes, and those of you listening, yes, I'm going away. So if you're like me and you don't want to get into spoilers, they'll be getting into spoilers.
Will we? Okay.
Well, I don't know. You might be. I'm gone. I'm a figment of your imagination after that. I'm assuming spoilers will come up. Because it's chat. You heard me first. As soon as I leave, spoilers are fair game. So have fun, everybody.
Thanks for joining us, Chris. Good luck for the fourth time.
See you, Chris.
Cheers, man.
Bye.
And there were
five.
So that's how I've noticed from the chat so far.
Famous five.
I think the demarcation line or the Marmite-ness of this movie.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You go like I really enjoyed it. Ian, really not. Right. But I think the demarcation line is this: there's different types of movies. There's cinematic experiences. There's storytelling. This is something that I find intergenerational, right? And for me, that's a very important factor. This is something I can go and watch with my grandkids and and they would enjoy it, and I would enjoy it. Now, I don't think either of you are parents, right? So it's like that's a
well,
that is a major factor to me.
No, it's not.
Major factor.
No, it's not.
Why do you say? Why do you believe that, Rabbi?
Because
it's got kids.
Sorry,
because you got kids.
No, because okay, honestly, my happiest times in my life is watching Doctor Who with my kids when they were little, and it's tragic that today there's something that parents and grandparents can't watch with their kids, grandkids, whatever, because everything's full of weird queer shit. Oh look, it's a chick with a dick. Like it's full of oh my god, I can actually watch something.
That's Doctor Who.
It's everything. Oh look, it's gay. What does that mean? He needs to be fucked in the arse, little Johnny. Don't tell your mummy. What's that?
I hope no kids are watching this one.
You make me laugh, Rabbi.
Like they'll come over from Zayda. That's my grandfather's name on BBC. Zayda says an anal fisting. That means not be a bad thing. I'm telling you. This is innocent. I can watch it. It's a major fact. It's intergenerational, right?
Yeah, right? Terrible. He's terrible. As a rabbi, should wash his mouth out with soap water.
Watch out with saying, baby. Yeah, but yeah, I can watch it with my kids and grandkids. And it was perfectly enjoyable. Like, it didn't kick me in the balls and call me a Nazi. For fuck's sake, really?
But Superman got kicked in the balls, didn't he?
Security to it.
Superman got kicked in the balls, didn't he? The Superman got kicked in the balls.
Superman was the
trait of the lefties. Let's kick a hero in the balls.
I should point out this is Superman. I mean, this may not be. This isn't Christopher Reeve. This isn't Christopher Reeve's Superman. But Gary's right. This is the Superman of the 90s comics, of the animated series, multiple iterations of the character. This is far more faithful to Superman as the character is conceived and lived and breathed all these decades than probably any other version we've had, certainly in cinema.
In all fairness, the Zack Snyder version was very faithful to the 2000s.
It's true, though. It's true.
No,
it's
I
true.
mean,
I've read Superman comics for decades. This is the nearest I've seen. That's
well, maybe you're right.
And in some respects, I think that could hold it back as such. But I think it could. It may limit its appeal. But on the strength of the box office, come to think of it, these are the things I was worried about after I saw it. You know, I thought, well, how are people going to take this? Is this too much like the comics? But evidently now, a week later, we're looking at, what was that figure? 400 million by tomorrow? Evidently not. People are charmed by something.
I think it's going to make $1 billion, is it not, to recoup?
Yeah, it needs
money?
to make $1 billion.
Yeah,
because of
I don't think it's gonna. And like,
I can't
honestly,
put much store by that.
Its job is to get people in the cinemas to watch Clayface. And that we've got more than make up its money. Its job is to get people in theaters to watch Clayface.
But I think its job was to re-establish this cultural icon, and they've been very obvious. They've been very clear about what they want to do. And in some respects, that's why I think the title of the film doesn't really matter, because they've been very, very clear about the purpose of this movie was to re-establish or to establish a cinematic universe. And there's nothing you could say that's cynical marketing. And I think if a film had come in which was bereft of any sort of worth and felt like I'd seen it all before, or that it was just a Marvel movie with a different logo and fanfare at the start, then I would probably be a little pissed off by that. But as it stands, as I say, I was well aware that this wasn't going to be for everybody, and there was lots of things when I watched it. At first, I thought, well, this isn't quite what I wanted, but I couldn't stop thinking about it, about the visuals, about the way it made me feel, the fact it had moved so quickly.
I really want to be in. I want to go back into it and say, I really want to see more of the. Again, the complaining about it is like, I know, you're on a plane and this stewardess gives you a hand job, right? And then you complain. I mean, really? Really? I didn't quite like a technique. No, really?
Definitely going to buy you a bar of soap, mate.
That's only business class, not even the first. Let me tell you, that's the way to flow, baby.
My confession is that I went to see this once with a young lady, and then I went again. I went to see this twice.
I'm jealous.
I haven't seen a movie twice at the cinema for 20 years. I had to see this again. I went again 3 days later. And there was a moment, and actually the cinema was busier 3 days later. It was later in the day, and at the moment in the pre-credits scene where obviously your Superman's been back to the fortress, and we've seen him sort of bloodied, and Krypto sort of brought him round, and the robots sort of jump on him and get to work on him, and you see that relationship, and then they fire him with rays from the yellow sun, and the engineer character says, the alien's on his way back. And then Superman starts flying. People were audibly gasping in the cinema when this happened. They could not wait. So this was less than 10 minutes in. People could not wait for this film to start properly when that fanfare kicked in. I haven't had that experience in the cinema for years, way before Force Awakens, probably since Jurassic Park, something like that. It's been years. It was full of families. It really, the second time was... I enjoyed the film considerably more the second time, and I saw lots of stuff too that I didn't see the first time.
Yeah, I've got a something I feel as well about the. Okay, so I know Superman was around for a good 40 years before the 1978 movie, so I get that, and I know it was in different mediums, film and radio serials, and the TV show with George Reeves and all of this. But here's my thing now, right? And I think if you've got to pay the royalties, John Williams has earned it, right? I think, and I hate this kind of hinting at the theme, but not going for it, like Superman Returns did. As far as I'm concerned, John Williams' Superman theme should be to Superman what the James Bond theme is to Bond,
yeah, absolutely agree.
Which again has been done by different composers, over the years, but it's always had that Monty Norman, John Barry theme, and other ones have adapted it. But I think they should do the same with Superman. The fact that they just hinted at the theme, I'm like, oh, please just play the fanfare.
Keith, may I ask, how long since you've seen Superman Returns?
What was that, Rabbi?
How long is it since you've seen Superman Returns?
Oh.
Yeah, I know they did it in that, which was the best thing
but
about
like
that
I literally just watched it, and firstly, they need to AI Christopher Reeve and his costume over Brandon Roth, and it'll be a much better movie. And secondly, you got to find a way of cutting out the Superboy plot thread. That's just garbage, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, I quite liked it. But anyway, they overused, and their reliance on the Donnaverse was just way too much in that movie, right?
The theme is perfect, though. The theme,
but no, I just watched it a couple of days ago, and and it's weird. The costume is like this dark brown
horrible,
one, where it's
isn't it?
like he's acting like Christopher Reeve. It's
Short boots.
None of it really
no
made
S on
much
the back.
sense, I'm afraid.
That's right.
I mean,
no
I
way.
think
way,
there's
way too much John Barrett. That's the thing. Way too much theme. So I think it was probably a reaction against that. They didn't want to feel that they were using it as a crutch, as a member-berry crutch.
I don't know. You could look at it another way. You could look at it another way that James Gunn wanted to separate himself from the 78 version, so he used it sparingly. That's what I think.
It's certainly not separating. He's very reverent to it.
He says. You know, you never know with these days.
I felt they got the balance. I felt they got the balance right, because to me, maybe it wasn't in it as much as I think. Because
it wasn't.
Again, I'm being.
I agree with
again.
Keith.
I don't know. I'm starting to think again now that it's like Keith pointed out the thing with the glasses, and I think, oh yeah, I didn't notice that. I mean, it certainly clearly didn't bother me. Otherwise, I would have noticed it. But I think, oh, did he really? And the same with this. I'm thinking, really? Because
so there's definitely going to be exclusive to HBO Max, a director's cut or a mini-series version that's like 8 hours long. Yeah, like that's the age we live in.
I went to see
I wouldn't
it
be
again.
surprised if something like that happens at all.
Yeah, I went to see it again because I want to like this more than I do. And I just went, you know, as I said, there's a lot of things I like about it. So I'm not saying I don't like this movie, but I've got a lot of problems with it, a lot of caveats with it. And James Gunn, I don't know, you know, I don't know whether he's going to be the savior of the DC thing or not.
Oh, he totally is.
Okay. Here's the thing: if he does something that I think would be good, then. But what I've got a problem with is, so he says he's going to reboot everything and forget everything from the DCEU, yet he has kept certain things like the films he directed, you know,
most of Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
he only made
I think if you're going to redo it, you should, because Amanda Waller, Viola Davis's character, has interacted with the characters that are now no longer part of this. It's messy.
It's not a firm rule.
I'll worry about that when the time comes. I don't think these things are worth worrying about, really.
Here's my little creative take that I'd like to see if I was lucky enough to be anything to do with this, which I'm not. But as far as I was concerned, everything they did with the DCEU, nothing was completed. It was just a bloody series of cliffhangers, right? Where we were something was set up and we were promised something and then we didn't get it, and we promised something and we didn't get it, and it's frustrating. I'm hoping that what he's going to do now, in 10 years time or whenever he gets to it, this is going to culminate in some sort of Crisis on Infinite Earths thing where we're suddenly going to be able to tie off all of the other iterations like they did in the Arrowverse. I think that would be really cool if it goes there, but
it will kind of work in this universe, right? Mm-hmm. By the way, I do like that you saw it again because you wanted to, but in saw it again because God is punishing him for being a meanie pants.
But in some ways, I feel that those are kind of, in many ways, I feel those are moot points. We can't possibly know what's going. I mean, for me, the worth. We can't judge whether James Gunn is going to save this whole universe necessarily based on this. I believe that we'll be able to judge that when we see subsequent projects. Because to my mind, one of the reasons why Marvel has been mired, for example, is that flat house style where everything looks and sounds and feels the same. for me, this universe, each film needs to be very, very distinctive. So if Gunn can be involved just enough to be that guiding hand so that there's a general sort of tone and things feel that they belong together enough that it's viable they exist in the same place, whilst letting the individual writers and directors be distinctive in their own way, in the same way he's been allowed to be with this Superman film. So I think we won't know until we see Clayface and Lanterns, quite because he's involved with all of these, and so is Peter Safran. So I think that's something, the proof of the pudding can only be in the eating. And really the best way to look at this is within that concentrated 2 hours of entertainment that we get. You know, whether it might be too little, might be too much for some people. That's how I look at it. Because despite the fact that this movie has texture and has themes, I think at the end of the day, it is. I feel very similar to how the rabbi does, in that, like I say, I wish my kids were still this age, whereby they could have seen this. They'd have fucking loved it.
They would have loved it. The kaiju,
regardless of the things the film doesn't do, and the things that it could perhaps have a little bit less of or a little bit more of. I don't think family audiences care about that stuff. I think they come away from it feeling a certain way, in the same way that I did. And I'm sure, I believe you, I'm sure you're absolutely right, Keith, that the John Williams music probably wasn't in this film as much as I think it was. But at that moment where Superman catches that skyscraper and raises it so that woman's car can get out from the under it, and then rises up into the sky, and he's so stoic, so heroic. I don't know, now you've said that, whether the John Williams music was playing during that moment, but it was certainly playing in my fucking head.
Like it was, even though it wasn't, right? That's a very good point you're making.
I do want to quickly respond to a couple of things that Ian said, because I thought on one hand, it may seem like his response and my response are kind of polar opposites, but I actually don't agree. I think actually, I think there's a lot of validity in what Ian was saying. I think that's where the subjective reaction, especially to these kind of superhero movies, come in, because I think the reaction to say, okay, well, what, you know, if what your measure of a superhero movie is, does the hero roundly defeat the villains and beat them into pulp or do whatever, that's completely valid. I mean, that's fine. If that's how anybody rates a superhero movie, I think that's totally fine. And in that regard, I agree with him. Yeah, the Superman definitively, beat. And I mean, even with the kaiju monster, he's annoyed because he wanted to save it rather than Guy Gardner killing it.
Well, Superman's powers has been diminished, isn't it, in this film? Because in the comics, he'd give one punch to that dinosaur thing, and that would fall on its head, and then he'd pick it up and fly out.
They've depowered him to actually match the comics. It's like this in the comics. He's always getting beaten. He's always like this.
Superman's always getting beaten in the comics.
Yeah.
Well, I read the wrong comics.
In 1970, 1971, Neil Adams took over. I'm right. Gary, was Neil Adams in 1970?
Yeah, that's when they gave him invulnerability against kryptonite in that story. Mm. Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Wait, which was the one where he worked out how to shave by burning his hair in a mirror? Was that John Byrne? He used his laser vision.
Well, and they even refer to the hypno glasses in this, and that's from like a late 70s story. It's like, how does everybody?
It's very Silver Age. It's very silly.
But what I was the largest
Actually, that's
John Byrne, when he reinvented the character in '86 as well, he further refined that sort of. He didn't depower him as such, but he introduced sort of caps to it, whereby there were greater stakes. Whether Superman can, if you're watching a character or reading a character and they can never be beaten, it's boring as fuck.
No,
really
that's not what I mean.
And then what John Byrne also did was John Byrne was the one who kind of reoriented Lex Luthor into being the ruthless businessman.
Yeah, but
I didn't like that at first.
I love this take on Luthor, by the way. I think this is the best screen Luthor I've ever seen.
But really,
Keith, just Keith there.
But super quick, the point that I wanted to make regarding how my listening and considering what Ian was saying is, to me, I thought that the one thing that Gunn, I think, did well is that he wanted to focus on Superman as the embodiment of the values that we already always associated with him: doing good, being kind, helping the world, old-fashioned values like that. And then that scene with his dad, where it's all about where they actually make explicit that it doesn't matter what your Kryptonian parents intended for you. It's all about your choices and your actions that make you who you are. And so it seems to me what James Gunn is trying to say is like he's making Superman / Clark a human first and foremost who fights for what's right. Earth isn't his birth planet, but for all intents and purposes, he's at his heart a human. And I think Gunn does a good job in emphasizing
Gunn
that.
has said that explicitly. It says that in an interview. Like, this is a Superman movie focusing on the man more than the super.
But that doesn't. But I may think that was the focus of the character. But I'm not disagreeing with what Ian said in terms of if I was measuring it one way, Ian has a perfectly valid way of measuring it another way in terms of what superheroes should do in the movie. I was focusing more on the inspirational part. Ian was focusing, it seems like more like on how the fights go and the action and things.
No,
I actually think that both of our reactions are
it's not valid. Only that though. It's not only that. The things that he does just annoyed me. Like at the ending when he confronts Luthor, right? He acted like I don't know. It just didn't make any sense. It didn't work.
Like he acted like a kid who was turned into a superhero.
Wait, Ian, you mean the part where he smashes into the room? Is that what you're talking about, Ian?
No, it's just a stupid speech he was making at the ending and stuff like that. It just didn't feel right. The way Superman was saying, "I'm human, I bleed too, blah blah blah, whatever," and then it gets spoiled by the dog, of course, because that's what James Gunn does.
Yeah, that was I was going to say that was quite a powerful scene, and then the dog
got
comes
spoiled by the dog. Yeah,
and whips.
And could somebody explain to me what was that thing where both him and Mr. Terrific were looking at the crack in the wall? I didn't understand.
Just
the post credits.
Yeah, what did that mean?
Somebody doing the cleanup.
when they put it together,
it's just kind of a comedy.
Oh, I see. Okay, so basically,
it's like Mr. Terrific was hacked off that he didn't get it back exactly right.
Okay,
those Gunnisms that I could live without, but they weren't enough in this to spoil it for me the way they really did spoil the Guardians film.
Was it just me, or when Superman first meets Lex, over the dog, where's the dog thing? When he kind of kicks the door in, I so wanted Lex to say, "Come in, the door's open."
Door is opened, yeah.
So I was like, why didn't he say that?
Okay, I don't know.
Who's your favorite Lex Luthor? Can I ask, Keith? Maybe also Ian. Who's your favorite Lex Luthor? If you hate this one,
the one in the Smallville.
Michael Rose.
Oh, Michael Rose.
Okay, big screen Lex Luthor. I haven't seen Smallville.
Oh, I don't know. It's got to be.
Rosenbaum's Lex is very similar to this.
No, not really. But I
don't
know. No, he's not. He's not, because he's very different. He's also younger, isn't he? He's younger,
but the characterization is exactly the same.
Ian, did you like Gene Hackman as?
Yeah, I liked Gene Hackman. Yeah, but he was played for comedy, more comedy.
Gene Hackman plays Gene Hackman.
Ian, you didn't even rate Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor.
No, Nicholas. I love Nicholas Hoult. I think he's a great actor, and I think he's very underrated as
he was the highest paid actor in this movie.
Yeah, but right, this Lex Luthor was just a moustache twirly man. That's all he was. He kept shouting all the time. Why does every man have to cry in this movie as well? He cried at the end, didn't he?
Ian, the culture war's over, mate. You can climb down from the island. It's okay.
If you think it's over, mate, I'm sorry, but you are well mistaken. You are well mistaken. James Bond cried and died. Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who. Or I can go on if you want me to. You think it's gone? You think it's gone?
Eventually,
Ian woke is dying, mate.
Yeah, well, I hope it will die soon. Because in this film,
Star Wars has done a handbrake turn.
The first time I watched it, I didn't notice Lex cry. I noticed it. I only noticed it the second time, and it's a single tear. And I just think it's interesting. I think if it had been in floods of tears, it would have been too much. You think, why is he crying? Who is he crying for? Because I don't actually. Nicholas Hoult is an actor I've enjoyed sometimes better than other. He's not, when they cast him as Lex Luthor, I wouldn't say I didn't feel it, but I thought, oh, that's nice. He's been okay in other things. I wasn't excited by it. So I found him quite surprising in this. And in lots of moments like that, a lot of the things, the way that he frames what he wants, what his aims are in this, are not exactly unique to this version. Again, this is very much like the comics, but I've never seen it played like this before. And he believes, he believes that just as Clark believes that he's right and strident in his beliefs, Lex feels exactly the same way. And I thought when that single tear was on his, why is he crying? Who is he crying for? What's going to happen when they pick that up? And that's what I appreciate about this film. It's a thing that I found, for example, frustrating about Tim Burton's Batman movie, where the Joker is just dispelled like a cartoon bad guy, throw him off a building, and he's gone.
He did fall like a cartoon, and it was a cartoon when he fell.
Exactly, it's superficial, and so I don't know. I just think it's really goofy to look at a character shed a single tear and go, "Oh, look at him, he's a mess." It's a culture war thing. It's goofy culture war bullshit. This is characterization, in my opinion. I know that's going to be different for different people.
That's the one thing that threw me, because normally Lex's motivation is that he's such a rampaging egotist that he can't stand anybody getting the adulation that he thinks should be his due. And they acknowledge that a little bit in the movie, even though he's talking about
he views himself a titan of
right. But which makes sense though when Superman comes along and the world loves Superman, Lex thinks, oh, that should all be for me. I had a hard time reconciling that, though, with the fact that, as the opening crawl goes, heroes have been around for like 300 years on this planet. He's not even the first. He's only been doing it for 3. You have all these other heroes. So I was wondering, why is Lex focusing all of his hate on Superman? Because there's other heroes around who are getting the adulation.
He's an alien.
Should be his. Okay.
He says in the film, because he's an alien, he doesn't belong to the.
And that was the other thing that threw me, is what Lex does with the falafel guy, I guess, in the prison. Yeah. That actually caused me to sit back and go, whoa, because Lex usually isn't as hands-on with his evil like that, like when he
but that was a really defining moment for
that's the one moment where in the run-up to it didn't ring, the actual presentation of that didn't ring true to me, and that character didn't quite ring true enough for me. But to see Lex do that, I immediately forgot about how shaky it was. I think that's probably just as you were saying, Ian, because Nicholas Holt's a really good actor. He was able to sell me on it.
Sorry, go ahead, Keith.
Pocket universe with monkeys. Literally.
Stupid.
It's more Gunnisms.
I was like, but the thing is, I would have actually loved it if. Bearing in mind, we've got a Lex Luthor here that, has created pocket universes, and, he got right out of Superman for the Quest for Peace. He got one of Clark's hairs to make right? But I would have loved it if when the Ultraman mask came off, that it was actually a clone.
Henry Cavill.
Lex. No, I think it would have been cool if it had been a clone of Lex.
Interesting.
I would have been way more interesting than
wow, I never thought of that.
I found the reveal I wouldn't say it was predictable, because I didn't predict it. I didn't see it coming, but I did find it disappointing.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I'll bet money. I'll bet money they're going to bring that character back as Bizarro, the actual Bizarro later.
Also, can I say something, right, which is really puzzling? Now, I think I said this to Keith. What was that guy who could change his form? What was his name again? Metamorpho, right? He goes away into the darkness with his baby. Then the next shot, he's sitting next to a blonde woman.
Oh, that's Sapphire.
TV, and I didn't know who that was. Who is Sapphire?
That's his wife in the comic, Sapphire.
Oh, I see.
He's since the 60s, and that's their baby.
I didn't know who she was.
This is exactly what I mean about how I think it's not particularly I don't know. I just think
Wasn't
it's
it
a little
obvious?
bit not
To me, it was obvious.
You're making sense, but no normally gives
that was his.
I hear what you're saying, Keith.
To me, it was very evident, obvious by their body language that was his partner, and there was their child. You don't need, it's we all see it.
No, not for me, it wasn't. I didn't know who she was. I thought it was his daughter or something.
I was actually in
the butcher.
No, it's not obvious, Dan. It's not. It's just one woman sitting next to him.
I think if you're looking for things to bitch about, it probably isn't.
No, that's not what I'm looking for. Look at it very carefully. It's one frame with him watching TV with a blonde woman, and she wasn't introduced anywhere in the movie.
But
it's an Easter egg. No, we've seen this 37 times.
It's an Easter egg. I'm such a sad fan that in the theater when I saw her, I actually went, "Oh, it's Sapphire."
Well,
I'm a sad fan.
I didn't read. I think I stopped reading that stuff. I remember Clark Kent became a newsreader in that version, right, Dan? Am I right?
Right.
He became a newsreader.
The 70s,
Steve Lombard was the bully, wasn't he? Steve Lombard was the
Galaxy
bully
Broadcasting.
Like I remember
in
that.
all honesty, I do think that bringing Metamorpho back out of the, I think that when he disappeared off into the distance like that was actually quite effective, and I probably wouldn't have brought him back myself. That would have been enough, and then pick up the character to.
But that line, but the little tag line at the end was great when Martha goes, "Oh, Justice Gang, that's a great name," and then Guy Gardner goes, "Okay, funny. You're in." That was fun.
I think it was there, and I think it was there for that joke. You see, which is the thing I've got. I tend to have against James Gunn. I think he'll do anything for one gag. I think he'll compromise his film for one gag, and I hope that he.
Someone's actually made a really good point in the comments there. I see somebody called Lucy has put, why did Lex not use Ultraman to ruin Superman's legacy?
Yeah.
And that is a really, really good point. Why did he could have ruined Superman that way rather than the message?
To ruin Superman's what? Sorry.
Legacy.
Oh, you mean while the real Superman's in the prison? You mean, Keith?
Well, what he did with the message, right? He'd had a clone of Superman, right? Literal clone of him. He could have
donned the costume
Superman easily, right?
It's a good question. It's good, and you can answer it like lots of ways. You could say that he wasn't advanced enough to be able to do stuff like that.
Yeah, he was advanced enough to fly around and punch Superman loads of times. Yeah.
What?
I said, he was advanced enough to fly around and punch Superman.
No. Lex Luthor was like controlling him, telling him all the different moves. Yes.
Well, then he could still command him.
I think that's a drawback. I think that's a drawback of having to keep of him feeling that reveal at the top of at the end of the film was going to have people gasping. He wanted it. Whereas if we'd have known that it was a clone of the character earlier on, we could have maybe found out a little bit more about his nature. Keeping it under wraps is the reason why they didn't. The surprise for Gunn, he viewed that as more important to this film than that, because the things that Lucy's pointed out is fine, but it's after the fact. It's only after you've seen the story play out. But Gunn wanted that reveal. He believed people would be surprised by that. Evidently, some people were, because I have seen people say, "What's the expression?" Oh, the people describe it as a twist. And a big reveal. I thought, well, it's a reveal. Big is subjective. How big is it? As I say, I didn't see it coming, but I was a little bit. I think I've seen that kind of thing before. But you see, if they have built that into the plot, then there would have been no big reveal and no big surprise, which is what
I mean, it certainly wasn't telegraphed in any way. It was just like, wait, what?
All of these things are very purposeful.
Was that in the comics, though, Dan? Was it in the comics?
I think Gary's right.
Ultraman in the comics is from a different Earth. He's a Superman analog, but not created by Lex. He's his own character.
This character looks like the Mask Gary. The original iteration of Doomsday had a similar mask.
That's right. You're totally right.
Again, in the 90s, there's so much 90s Superman in this. So I think that could have been a little thing where he was perhaps playing the fans, the comic book fans, and the fans of the cartoons in a way that was completely inconspicuous to people who hadn't read them, because they wouldn't know. But the comics fans who think, that's him. Oh, I know who that is, because I've read it. Think, you think, again, I think it was a way of trying to surprise. The more I think about this, the more I'm convincing myself it's true. He was trying to surprise as many people as he could, no matter how familiar they were with whatever versions of Superman. And again, just like Lucy's pointed out, because Lucy, hi Lucy, thanks for watching. Lucy's clearly got a mind that works like that, or whatever. But some people, their minds work differently when it comes to this stuff. Some people are more pragmatic about story than others, and do latch onto stuff like that. Some people just don't, or don't care, or don't notice, or whatever. And I think for people who make these films and tell these stories, they have to kind of spin those plates and just make those calls as best they can, thinking, look, this could please the most people, knowing that they can't please everybody. And again, that was the thing. Watching this film, it's a very, very mainstream movie, but it was very distinctive, very particular, and a version of Superman that's never been put on the cinema screen before, to be so comics accurate.
Flag is totally wearing Hamilton's outfit in that photo. Though.
There you go.
Look at my avatar. Look at my avatar.
Call your lawyer, Keith.
See,
exactly.
That is Hamilton's
and
outfit.
Ian should call. Actually, Ian's the creator. He should call his lawyer too.
My lawyer's on the case.
What do my avatar? The controversial thing with Jor-El and Lara. Are we going to talk about that, or are we avoiding?
Well, this was I didn't know whether to get to this or not, because as I throughout this, I've said about the things that wrong-footed me, things I wasn't expecting, things that were surprises or whatever. And and I've read. I haven't seen many reviews of this. I've deliberately stayed away from them. But there's a lot of people out there claiming, well, Ian said a few things. Superman wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that. Well, it depends which version of Superman you've read or watched or whatever. You could say that everything in this film comes from somewhere.
Oh, Smallville.
And I haven't seen and read everything, Keith. I won't pretend that I have. But the one thing that did surprise me and made me not gasp, but think, was this is a considerable change to Superman lore, in that to look at Superman's, not his mission as such, but to look at that message from his birth parents and to turn it and to incorporate it into the story in the way that they have, to, if not turn things upside down, to skew the story and to repoint the legacy. He did it very confidently. I can't speak as to whether it will be long-term wise or not. But in the context of this movie, I'm still not sure if I like it or not. And I think that's probably a good thing, the fact that I was still thinking about it.
Yeah. Once again, though, it's nothing new. They did this in Smallville. This is not something James Gunn's come up with.
Yeah.
Much like the logo, this has been done before. It's just
it's never been claimed that this is an innovative movie. But
no, you're right.
Quite the opposite.
Doesn't John Schneider's character? I've forgotten. Yeah, you're quite right. I've forgotten about it.
Yeah, that was Keith is exactly right. I mean, this is when I was walking back from the movie, I actually got into a long text conversation with our good friend Lou Bonnet Hoovey and Andy Lane about this particular plot point. And just as Keith earlier talked about how it feels kind of weirdly compressed, that the public turn on him and then re-accept him so fast. I was thinking that did bother me for a while too, but then I thought, well, it's a 2-hour movie, not a season-long TV series. Yeah. So this is kind of the same thing where for multiple seasons, it was all about Clark finding out about his heritage and about how Jor-El did send him here to be a conqueror, and everything. And again, I think that the way Gunn uses this for the story is that Superman resonated with the part of the message that he liked, that resonated with who he was, which is go out and be good, do good, we love you, and all of that. But when he found out the rest of the message, which basically was not who he was, he turned away from it. Where at the end of the movie now, the thing that brings him comfort is not this, it's his Smallville Facebook.
Right, I thought that was very sweet in general.
It was great.
That's the arc of the character.
Yeah, I really like the fact that I thought that one of the best things he did was his parents, i.e. his Kansas parents, and that scene with Pa Kent, because the fact that he was raised by boomer parents, which it would have been for him, as opposed to the kind of Kevin Costner, Diane Lane, or even Glenn Ford and Eva Marie Saint, types. It was just that was a really refreshing change, I thought.
Keith, I can't even tell you how much I hated that scene in Man of Steel, where Kevin Costner as Pa Kent is basically sitting there saying, well, yeah, maybe you should have let the busload of kids drown, Clark, because then maybe they wouldn't know who you are. I almost threw something at the screen during that scene. That was so not who that character should be.
It's another take. It's kind of, yeah. I don't hate. I know people really hate the Snyder film, but I don't actually. I just think
I'm just glad we didn't get the last ones.
Snyder's a different take.
I just hated that scene because that wasn't Pa Kent.
I think it was perfectly valid, but the only problem with it was that I think it would have, if followed through to a natural conclusion, I think it would have taken the character to a place which he could never have come back to. I mean, if you remember at the end of Man of Steel, we see him kill General Zod, and that's not really something Superman would do. This Superman would never do that. We're very aware, no matter what you think of this movie. And as I say, I said right at the top of the show, I'm aware this is, despite its huge success, it's going to be a bit of a Marmite affair. But unreservedly, I think that Superman offing people just because they're a wrong one, it's not who this character is. And
that's Batman, isn't it?
Gun script. Yeah.
Or in this film, Hawk Girl.
Hawk Girl. Yeah, let's go. The guy.
Fantastic scene. Yeah, when she says, well, I'm not Superman, and just drops that guy.
Yeah.
I loved all the Justice Gang. I love all those characters. And I was wondered, Rabbi, which version of Hawk Girl they were going to use, because obviously she was pretty much an unheard of a fringe character until the Justice League animated show. And
she was still unheard of a fringe character after the end of this movie. I hardly noticed her in this movie. She was like hot girl with wings and a big mace thing. She was I literally, she was in it for like 3 lines. I did blink and you miss her.
But that's why. That's why when she did drop that guy, I thought I knew who this character is, and clearly I didn't. So, I can't wait to see her again.
Line could have gone to anyone, right? It just felt like, to me, that just felt like a gag.
Has she got super strength, by the way?
No,
I assume so.
She's alien, but she doesn't.
Oh, she's alien.
Oh yeah, no, she's from another planet. She's from she's from a planet called Thanagar.
No.
Yeah, I know.
She's not this. No, she's not. If you remember, Superman is the only alien on the Earth. This is the Kendra Saunders version.
Oh, she's not the Thanagarian. Okay, all right.
She's the human that gets possessed. Because it's really confusing. There are 3 different. There's Hawk Woman. There's 2 different Hawk Girls. And this is the one that's a human who gets possessed by the nth metal and looks into the sort of the alien sort of version of Egyptology and things like that. So she's not super strong at all, and she's not. It is really complicated stuff.
In the 90s, because of a mix-up of creators, the characters, the continuity of Hawkman and Hawkgirl became so hopelessly tangled and confused and overcomplicated that they've tried a couple of times since then to uncomplicate it, but that is the most like messed up continuity.
Every time they do it makes it worse.
Any DC characters is Hawkman and Hawkgirl.
They should have used the character Hawk from Buck Rogers season. Hulk spaceship.
I just
Gunn, if you're listening, don't listen to Rabbi. Do not do that.
I loved who was it who said at the top of the show, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane.
Yeah,
completely owns this part, and I did feel that I could have done with, and as good as that 12-minute scene of them talking together was, I could have done with a bit more again at the end of the film. Although the clinch and the kiss was nice. Beautifully shot and full of sexual energy, sexual chemistry, I could have done with another conversation, something a little bit more. I just want to see more of them together as well. And that'd be something I would expect
from Pete.
Sorry. What that comment you just made is my point exactly. We didn't get enough of this. This is what I'm saying. It wasn't there. we didn't get enough of Clark and Lois. We didn't get enough of that in this film, I think. And it should have been 3 hours if we wanted to have all of that, because we had way too much.
I agree.
Stuff. We had kaijus and
agree.
justice gangs and all this other a war between two countries, which was subtle, wasn't it? And and all this stuff. And again, let's go back to wanting land again.
To be fair, I can't remember a time where there haven't been two countries, a minimum of two countries at war at some point in the world. And so, in my opinion, people
fit it into was it Creature Commando's view of Europe, right? Like Europe's full of those little countries, right? That's basically that was the vibe of that show.
Do you know the thing I was a bit disappointed? Actually, very disappointed with this is the flying stuff. The flying stuff. Oh, it was so because I thought they'd treat it with respect. Like in 78, I keep referring to 78. When he says goodbye to Lois, he goes like that, and then he just glides off. He glides off. With this, you never see him glide or land, nicely or fly off. Do you know what I mean? Nothing like that. It's just
generic. It's generic superhero flying. I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
My favorite Superman takeoff is in Man of Steel, right, where there's that ripple comes out.
Oh no, I hate that.
I really like that one. Oh, what a shock! You don't like it?
No, but the reason why I don't like it is because the 78 version kept saying, "You believe a man can fly," and they did everything most of it practically, didn't they?
Yeah,
like when he took off to save Lois, when he says goodbye to her. Do you know what I mean? All that stuff when he lands in the street, it's all done with wires. And Chris Reeves really, especially when he banks, when he is in a Fortress of Solitude, and he turns and he banks and he flies right across the screen. You're like, that's Superman. But with this film, things were too fast. He's like, eyes up here. When he's gone, when I look back at Superman lore, and I can't remember which bits of this. It's kind of like you said earlier on, Gary, with Truth, Justice, the American Way coming out of the war. When these little things came in, and when from where, but exactly like Ian's just been saying, is it a bird? Is it a plane? And I always do feel that Superman should glide and soar more like a bird than power through the sky. In the way that he does, and in a way that any superhero that does fly in any film, and I can live with. I'm still not very keen on the suit in this movie. I can live with.
I mean, I can see why. I can live
with the suit if the power set and things like that, just as Ian was saying, were less generic. I completely agree with you about that.
Do you remember the ending, Dan, when they start kissing? There was never a shot where they lifted from the ground in one shot and start flying. It was cut after cut after cut, and then they were in the air, and you're like, couldn't you not just do it in one? Yeah, in this one. If you look at it again, if you look at it again, I was thinking to myself, couldn't you not just do it in one? Fly them in wires and make them go up, and please, and nothing.
I mean, I get why Gunn would want to differentiate things, but whether it's the music, like what Keith was saying, and that's a really valid point, or what you just said, Ian, I think that it's unfortunate that he didn't see like some things as like must-haves. It's like we've got to have these things, whether it's the full theme or the gliding. And it's like he could say, I know the people have done it before, but that's what people associate with it. Those things. The
whole theme was a Donna theme. I just remember the opening title was the Donna theme.
It was very fast though. The film never stopped, did it? It just kept going and going. There was no breathing room in it. It just kept going.
It needed another quiet scene.
Well, there was one when he came and he had his cocoa. Do you remember that bit where they were fighting outside and he came through the windows? He was going to give himself up. He's going to find the dog, and the only way to find the dog is to give himself up. And do you remember that bit? And Lois gives him some cocoa.
It's great.
That was okay. That was okay.
We've got that interdimensional imp thing.
Yeah, I know. It spoiled
outside.
it.
I'm like, oh god.
Was that Dan? Was that supposed to be Mr. and Mrs. Pitlick? That little interdimensional thing that they were fighting?
Spoiled it.
I don't think so, but I suppose these things they could be if you wanted. I mean, you talked about music there a moment ago, and I wanted to share this, I suppose, and see if you had the same experience. In between my first viewing of this and the second, I could not get. I mean, a great deal of the references passed me by, and because not only are they very American, I get the impression they're very American, but they're also a generation younger than I. I get the impression this version of Clark Kent grew up in the mid to late 90s through to the noughties. And so I have no idea who the what's that band that he likes, the punk rockers,
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
who they were.
It was fiction.
Yeah, when she says, "Oh, they suck," and I'd never heard even this tune that featured Iggy Pop
at the ending,
punk rocker. I couldn't get that song out of my head from the moment I left the cinema until I went to see it again 2 or 3 days later. So whilst I could have done, I suppose, with the John Williams music on those end credits, I'm a punk rocker, yes I am, became such an anthem for me for this film, for the themes of it, and a framing for that version of the character, that sort of little boy in a Superman's body. I wouldn't be without that. If I wouldn't trade that for another movie with the John Williams music playing for 3 or 4 minutes at the end, because it really, really moved me. And so there was another scene as well, and this was in the trailer, and I can't believe it got me. One of 2 or 3 moments, Keith, where I did have a moment, one of which was the one that you mentioned with Pa Kent on the porch.
Best scene.
I don't know where that came from, but I was getting choked up watching that. And the other moment was this with this kid holding the flag.
Oh yeah,
up for Superman. I found that incredibly emotional, and I think, looking back, I think, well, you fucking idiots. This is James Gunn. He does stuff like this all the time. But because this is speaking purely from my perspective, in my view, Gunn had dialed down a lot of the humor, a lot of the other stuff that puts me off. He dialed that back quite a lot. I hadn't forgotten it was a James Gunn film, but I had forgotten he does this shit. And so when this little lad puts up the flag and closes his eyes, you know, and you want to reach in and sort of, you want to save him, you know. But it was very effective.
But then Guy Gardner, you know, Nathan Fillion, Green Lantern, sticks a box around him and makes a joke about it, right? It's kind of, that's what I mean. He kind of does that everywhere. And also the person who had the best action sequence in the whole movie was Mr. Terrific.
Yeah.
Oh, Mr. Terrific had the best fight action. He kicked more ass in this than Superman did in the whole movie. Mr. Terrific did. You know, again, it's a Superman movie. It's anyway. That's just my opinion. It's my.
I got one question. When they make Supergirl, do you reckon Supergirl's gonna get her ass kicked all the way through the movie and end up crying just like Superman?
Well, they're adapting.
She's a woman. What are you talking about?
They're adapting with the Supergirl movie. It's different though, isn't it? With the Supergirl movie,
different.
It's different. It's different because with the Supergirl movie, they're adapting a specific comic as that film. I don't know if they've changed the title, but it was originally called, wasn't it, Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which is a very specific interpretation and a finite story told over 10 issues by one writer and one artist team. Now, it is a very different take on the character, and they are going to alter things because Lobo isn't in that comic. He is in the movie version. There's another character that's very similar to Lobo, so I'd imagine they've probably just swapped him out and beefed up the character.
I've read that they're dropping the Woman of Tomorrow subtitle. I mean, that's what I read, but who knows if it's true.
They can't do Lobo fully because Lobo's a real horrible character in the comics, so there'll probably be a dumbed down version for families. Yeah.
Oh, I hadn't seen that picture with her in the jacket on the left before.
That's
from the movie. It's at the end of the again. You know, James Gunn said in an interview, I watched this. He said, we're not going to do what Marvel do and have a post-credit sequence that sets something up." But I'm like, well, no, you don't have a post-credit one. You have it.
Put it in the film.
In the film
movie, because this is totally could have been a post-credit thing setting up the next thing. It's totally what it is.
I hope I live long enough to be in a to see the death of post-credit scenes, you know, to where it's like, you're right, just put it in the movie, Keith. I totally agree with you.
I didn't re-edit stuff with the building in this. Stuff with the building in this was a bit too much for me. It was a bit too Seinfeld for me. That's what I was. It was just there for the people who sort of sat there, I suppose, turning their phones back on in the cinema. And
this
harmless enough.
will totally get my daughter to see the movie. Right? This is 100% for my daughter. There's a whole demographic he's bringing in with this.
With the Supergirl movie, you mean? With the lead in?
My daughter will totally see that movie because of that cameo.
Yeah. Well, it's like I said at the beginning, and I totally accept that. This is a different take on Superman, and my gripes with it. I realize it isn't made for me. It's totally not. The Christopher Reeve movie was made for me because I was a young child when I went to see it, and that was special. This is another interpretation. It's great. It's entertaining. I think the casting, as I said, is absolutely spot on. I've got no issue with any of that. I just, have problems with some of the narrative of this. It was just.
So I'm gonna disagree with you, if I may, and say that this is made for you in exactly the same way that the 78 one was, in that it is a film that is meant to have enormous broad appeal, which includes people of literally every demographic in the average, whether it be a literal family or a group of people who may go and see a film like this together or talk about it before, during, or after the fact. I think it's very, very broad, and that's both the blessing of a film like this and can also be their undoing as well.
Certainly
that's how I see Superman.
Questions because
that's how I see Superman. I'm not sure, again, because Woman of Tomorrow is such a specific story. I don't know if it's brave or reckless of them to adapt it for this. I would imagine they'd be foolish not to aim it to give it the same certification and to rule anybody out of seeing this. Yeah. But I don't really know what to expect at all. I see no reason to believe this will be some sort of culture war nonsense. Gunn, Superman. There was nothing woke about this Superman film, and I would imagine this won't be woke either. But will they strike the right balance? I suppose, because you're right, Rabbi. I think a great many people. That was a very memorable cameo from Millie Alcock as Supergirl.
At like 30 seconds, she was there.
Huge impact she's made.
I found it very impressive. Right, and
again, the timing of banging this teaser poster out as well, Gary.
Yeah,
perfect.
This is a great poster, and I don't mind that if they go the whole like girl boss route. Just don't do it by tearing down males at the same time. Go and God bless you on your girl boss movie, and if it's going to be like kind of like a rock star, tone, that's great. Just you don't need to tear anything else down in order to achieve it. So I hope they don't go that route.
She's already called Clark a bitch. So
yeah, but that to me is more kind of like,
their family,
sisters with brothers and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I was fine with that.
Here's the thing though. Here's another thing I'm a bit puzzled about here, right? So I don't know the mythology around this version of Supergirl, but I thought she was supposed to be technically older and to have grown up on Krypton rather than Krypton, again, whatever.
It's been turned up and turned down so many times, Keith. It's impossible to say how they're going to.
But here's the thing: surely, if she did grow up on Krypton, wouldn't she know about that Kal-El was sent not for to conquer the world and.
We don't know, do we? We don't know until we see.
They'll probably address it.
There are several sort of creases and quirks to the different versions of Superman, which can be a bit frustrating. But with Supergirl, it's far, far worse.
Right, imagine
she's been wiped out of existence a couple of times, hasn't she, Rabbi, in the books? And they've
I mean, this is basically like what would Lindsay Lohan be like in her prime with superpowers? But is what it seems to look like.
If they adapt the Michael Turner version from the noughties, I think you could kind of have his cake and eat it with that, and that would lead very nicely into the Woman of Tomorrow storyline. But none of us have any way of knowing any of the answers to those questions. Just got to wait and see how it plays out.
Was I the only one that had a problem with? I did not like the fact that the Daily Planet crew ended up flying around in Mr.
I like that.
Shit.
Yeah, I like that too. I thought that's fine.
I had a
because
real.
it was you and Ian.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
gave us,
What
it
was
gave
it
us more. It gave us
specifically,
more of
Keith?
them, which I liked.
What was it? What was it? Was it how that? What was it about that scene that rubbed you wrong?
No, I just like the fact that Lois could just get in and fly the thing.
Well,
for starters. I was like,
what about when the building broke into two and there's like place their office was a flying fortress?
Oh, the Luther Corp.
That was Luther Corp, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
See,
I'm
I
gonna have to bow out. I am a cream crackered. I have to go to bed.
Okay.
Good night, sir.
Okay, thank you for joining
Listen,
us, Rabbi.
Rabbi.
Speak to you.
Stay safe out there, pal. Stay safe,
Thank you very
mate.
much. Toodle pip, everybody.
See you later.
I
Ta-ra.
did, Keith, like the fact that they could write and get this story, published and uploaded, even though they're flying around in this thing. It shows you how competent they are. I actually think I have to say my favorite single scene in this whole movie is when in Kansas, when Clark's lying there on the bed and they do the slow pan out and there's Crypto lying on his stomach.
Yeah, that was nice.
That was my single favorite scene in this entire movie.
No, I agree. I mean, there was a lot of nice things in this as well. I'll tell you what, though, Jimmy Olsen doesn't once have a camera in this film. I noticed the second time I watched.
He's a reporter, isn't he, in this one?
Oh, is he? Oh,
He's
it's
not
different.
A photographer,
Okay,
yeah.
I always thought he was supposed
He
to.
doesn't need a camera when he has like hot informants scattered around the city.
Well, we've all got a camera in our pockets anyway, and I know there's plenty of iPhones in this.
They don't really, even local newspapers don't employ photographers in that way anymore.
Yeah.
The scene with them in the ship, terrific. Again, as long as it's in the script, it doesn't. I mean, we can all roll our eyes a little bit, but they terrific did say the controls are very, very intuitive.
Yeah.
As if to say, well, it'll meet you more than halfway, and she was still seen to be visibly struggling with it. But of course, that was again one of the very few moments where I thought, oh, okay. But I think it's simply because it needed to. The pace. I don't think it needed to necessarily happen, but I think the pace needed to be kept up. I think it was good to have those characters still present because in the previous versions of Superman, particularly the big screen ones, I loved, for example, Jackie Cooper as Perry White. And how often is he in those movies? Like 3 minutes throughout the entire. He was great in that role. Very, very colourful. He was kind of like Mickey in the Rocky films. This way, if you latch on to any of these in particular, I think everybody latched on a bit to Jimmy White. I always say Jimmy White. Thinking of Perry White and Jimmy Olsen. If you latched onto Jimmy Olsen, as I think virtually everybody did for one reason or another, then you get to see him in the frame for a little bit more, and you get used to the other characters being around because clearly this isn't going to be the only time we ever see any of them.
Which was the movie that had Lawrence Fishburne as Perry? I thought that was a waste of that actor in that role.
Man of Steel.
Was that Man of Steel? He was wasted in that.
He was great.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was
loved him as Perry White, and to be honest, apart from
honestly, I thought the best Perry White was who was the actor who played him in Lois and Clark.
I was about to say Lane Smith.
Lane Smith. Lane Smith. That is the best Perry.
He was good. Yeah.
Right now, I'm slightly obsessed with this actress who played Cat Grant. Can't think why.
But the thing is, though, was she wearing a wig? It just didn't look, I don't know. It just looked weird. It was like they did it deliberately.
She's not blonde. I don't know if it was a wig or if she dyed her hair. She's very, very dark.
Yeah, they need
absolutely gorgeous.
I wonder if they had more scenes with her that were cut for time. Maybe.
Yeah, because it was a 3-hour movie, wasn't it? In the end, and
you can so tell. Yeah.
Yeah, the producers, the execs didn't like it, so they had to cut it down and reshoot stuff and stuff like that. So yeah.
I thought it did line up quite nicely with what we had in Creature Commandos earlier this year, which was the sort of the soft launch, wasn't it, of the DC Studios universe?
I never watched it. I didn't watch it. I wouldn't know. I didn't watch it.
Again, this is something I kind of watched out of obligation, which I ended up really, really enjoying. I think there were 6 in the end, and it was probably enough. Apparently, they're going to make another one.
They got a season 2.
Was fine. It was good, and because of the kind of that sort of monster factor, it had Gunn's voice, and the jokes, his sensibilities were far more prevalent in this than they were in Superman. But it did have a kinetic, energy. There were lots of different influences of different kinds of movies and things in there. So yeah, I was more than happy with that, and I think it set me up nicely.
You know, James Gunn's brother. Why didn't they get him to play Perry White?
He would have been quite
Lord. Did he? Oh, was he Max? Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
And everything was Lord, either Luther Corp or Lord Tet.
Lord Tet.
Oh, right.
In the whole film.
Mm-hmm.
They really, they went to a lot of detail for that.
See, for me, the Perry White character has to be quite avuncular.
Because I didn't know who he was,
and I can't imagine Sean Gunn playing a part like that.
When they showed that clip, I didn't know he was Maxwell Lord at all. I just thought he was some guy that they caught on the street to actually comment. But apparently
there were lots of little things like that in the corners, like when Keith mentioned the jitterbug and the burgers and things like that. Little things like that littered through it, which I'll probably spend between now and whenever there's a sequel, in whatever form that may come. I'll probably spend from now until then spotting different ones.
And another thing to look for is, I guess, one of the scenes where they have the big Jumbotron news and the reporters up there talking about one of the stories on the big Jumbotron on one of the buildings. That's actually Christopher Reeve's son, who's playing that reporter.
Yeah. He was on stage when we went to see the documentary in Keith.
Yeah, he was.
So, is he a news anchor or a reporter in real life? Is that, or is he an actor?
He's not even an actor.
Really?
I think he deals with the
the estate for his dad and wife for the
charity that they do. Yeah.
If they do Superman 2, I don't want Luthor in it at all. They need to bring in somebody like Brainiac or something like that. Give us another. It doesn't have to be all Luthor all the time.
Well, they've threatened Brainiac for as long as I've known. Like, Brainiac was the main villain in the Nick Cage Superman, wasn't he? And other films as well that didn't get made. So hopefully Brainiac will make it.
And they have a way to do it. They can have Brainiac was one of the reasons that like doctored around with that message, the glitch and everything. Yeah. I mean, if they bring it as the AI that has something to do with that message, that's your way in.
You think that could be them sowing the seeds for more story?
Brainiac.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Somebody has asked Gunn about Superman, because again, I want more of this. As I say, I loved it, particularly the second time. It made a huge impression on me, and it's really stayed with me. As I say, it isn't everything that I ever wanted in a Superman movie, but the more I reflect on it, the more I think that that's probably a good thing as well for the long-term prospects for it. But after I watched it, I did have a hankering to see more. The rabbi mentioned earlier on how he needed to see more Superman right away, and so he went and got a fix of whatever version he fancied. I thought just the same. And so I was thinking, what are they going to do for a second one? This guy has asked James Gunn directly over on X, when does Superman 2 come out? Somewhat entitled, but at least it's to the point. And Gunn simply replied, "Define Superman 2." So
of course he did. That's
hinting
Gunn response. Yeah.
He's very transparent in his social media responses for the most part, and playful, yes, but quite transparent. And he doesn't bullshit either. So obviously, he's not going to say anything now. And I suspect that Furman Talks work probably knew that this is all part of the circus. In fact, he may have been a plant, and that may have been a complete setup. But I do like the way that the entire brand is being run at the moment, and. I'm willing to kind of not eat my own words as such, because I never slagged off James Gunn, but I was all the videos here on the show. I was worried about him taking this over. I didn't think I'd like it. I didn't think he'd be able to rein himself in, and for me, he did. But evidently, that's not a universal thing either. So where it's going to go from here, heaven only knows.
I just say to people, watch Superman and Lois, 4 seasons of brilliant Superman with a proper conclusion. And
Keith, I've loved virtually all of them. I mean, I was a massive fan of Smallville. It went on so long that I can't even. There was so much of it I'd totally forgotten about that stuff with the message and things, like loads of stuff in that I forgot. I loved not just Lane Smith, the entire Dean Cain series. I adored it all. Most of the animations I've enjoyed to one degree or another.
I remember when
Superman and Lois though is great. Seriously,
I remember when Smallville started. It was the same story every week. It was like somebody touched kryptonite and they became a monster. Yeah,
that was the whole first season.
But then season 2 really made a difference, didn't it? It took another route and it became, and then I started watching it religiously for season 2. So I thought it was, up to the end, I thought it was really good. Yeah.
Once they knew they'd got an audience for it, I think, and they undoubtedly have an audience for this, judging by the word of mouth is fantastic on this movie. Several of us have been to see it a couple of times, albeit under duress.
Under duress.
More people are talking about this a lot. People are certainly asking me about it. My sons, we've been talking about it too. And Superman does seem to be back and culturally relevant again. I suppose will people still be talking about it in 3 or 4 months' time when it turns up on physical media and streaming? The rumours it's going to be streaming as soon as at the end of the summer.
No, they should not do that.
They shouldn't do that, but I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they did.
You can pre-order it actually on like Apple TV.
I've seen it. I've seen a steelbook. I've seen a steelbook already, Keith. Physical media steelbook. In fact, I think there was 2 different designs. I thought, God, it's literally just come out. But I think do they always do that, or is it the
the steelbooks that's a big marketplace for physical media. Exclusives and stuff like that. But
Don't you guys think that that's what's killing box office? Is that everybody says, "Oh, wait a month, it'll be on streaming."
Sure.
Maybe.
It's not helping.
Yeah. It's not helping for sure. I mean, that's a big conversation. But as I said, I went back again because I had to see it again, and I think it's okay. I just wanted to love it more than I did. I think I haven't got a problem with it. I don't hate it, but I've got issues with it. So
we've got a few comments.
It'll probably change. It'll either go, I'll love it more or hate it more. Maybe I don't know. I'm a bit on the fence at the moment.
There's plenty of people in the live chat here on YouTube and Rumble who seem to be deciding whether they're going to watch it or not based on what we've been saying. So
I personally think they shouldn't listen to us. They should just go and see it anyway. Do you know what I mean? I mean, I didn't like it, but there's plenty of people that liked it. Do you know what I mean?
Agree, Ian. Totally agree.
Yeah.
I think let's give Ian the final word. Have you got any words of wisdom, sort of Jor-El style, that you'd like to offer on this movie? When is it you're going again? When is it you're going again?
Tomorrow. I have to go with my nephews. So listen, right, this is no joke. I've had 10 people that wanted me to see this film with them. Seriously, 10 people. I kept saying, please, I don't want to see it again. They kept saying, oh, but we can't watch it without the Mega Geek. I'm like, oh. Anyway,
I'd love to fly over there and see the movie with you, Ian. I love it.
But okay, right. But the thing is, though, I did not like this film at all. I thought it was an insult to the Superman character personally. But it doesn't matter what I think, right? People should make up their own mind, right? That was what I personally think. Right, it's just my opinion. It means nothing in the big scheme of things. James Gunn's not going to stop making Superman 2 because the Mega Geek didn't like the first one. Do you know what I mean? So just go and see it and make your own minds up. That's my last word on it. So there you go.
It's fair.
Thank you for your contributions, guys, for your input, your takes on this. It really does, and this symbol means different things to different people in whatever form that we see it. It conjures up all sorts of memories. And each time a new iteration of Superman makes its way to, the TV, the cinema, radio, comics, whatever. A lot of people are interested in where it's going to go, how it's going to look, what have they dialed up and dialed down, how have they changed things. And sometimes I think we do take it personally as well, that depending on how close we are to the character or not. Let us know how close you are to Superman. What are your favorite iterations of the character from wherever? And have you seen this film yet? If so, how many times? Get back to us and let us know.
There's something mighty interesting going on around my town. Every place I go, I see that favorite new cereal of mine, Kellogg's Sugar Frosted Flakes. Look,
Superman, and that's all there is to it. Why not? Well, for one thing, you're a girl. And that's not much of a reason. Well, I know something you can do that Superman will sure like. What? You can have some more Kellogg's Sugar Frosted Flakes. Superman says they're the best. I like them the best, too. Hey, I know. Since you like Sugar Frosted Flakes, you can be Supergirl.
You see, kids may argue, but never about Kellogg's Sugar Frosted Flakes. This is the new cereal kids all agree is the best tasting cereal ever. Tony, tell the folks how Frosted Flakes taste.
Great!
Could the success of Superman be enough to not just establish a new DC Studios cinematic and television universe, but save Warner Brothers' ass? I suppose we'll find out in due course. We'll be watching, we'll be listening, and we'll be commenting and having these conversations as always. More fun and games here at the Spacebook Live, back every Saturday from 8 p.m. Thank you so much for your company, guys. More locking about. And all that jazz goes through. Still there, faithfully wearing his Superman cap. Thanks, mate. Thanks.
I'm going to go have some Frosted Flakes after the show.
Same here.
But it does make you a little bit peckish to see that advert, doesn't it?
Those kids don't need more sugar.
They don't. I mean, even today, that cereal's full of sugar.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous how much.
Well, they don't call it over here. They don't. Do they have it in the UK? I mean, over here they have it, but it's just called Frosted Flakes now.
What's it called over here? I can't remember. Frosties. That's what it is.
Frosties.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah.
We've people have been having a blast in the live chat, talking about all manner of things. Some of it quite off topic, but as long as you've enjoyed yourselves, guys. I did laugh, says Mark, when Eve jumped on Jimmy and said we can be together forever. That look was funny. Yeah, nice characterization. Jimmy Olsen's a character I've never particularly cared for. Ever come to think of it, in this, I really liked him. He didn't feel, I don't know, he felt three-dimensional.
He got killed in the Zack version, though, didn't he?
That wouldn't have been the look on my face. The look on my face would have been entirely more happy.
Dalek Lives Matters as a man should have driven the ship.
Oh no.
But at least it crashed, so it was true to life. Come on. A good scene with the dog, says Lucy Meow. Every scene with Crypto. I'm not a big dog lover, but even I love Crypto.
Do you know what, Dan? I wonder how much was CGI and how much was a real dog when you watched that film.
CGI, I've heard.
There was quite a lot. See, I think they used. I think that they used a dog as in the same way that Andy Serkis was used as Gollum, and they combined. But obviously, technology has advanced so much that even something covered in fur now can be kind of partly animated. In some ways, I don't want to know. I've got like this with films lately, where I don't want to see too much behind the curtain. And I think it's partly in because of what you said about the flying in this. So much of films has become quite generic and unremarkable. I'm not really wowed by much anymore. And so I can't remember the last time I watched a special feature about that kind of angle to filmmaking, because I don't want
just looking at
the sausage made.
Just looking at the last Jurassic Park film, when you see the trailer and you see all those dinosaurs, they're all so perfect. But that's the problem; they're perfect, and that's when you know it's CGI. So and it takes you out of it.
What's a shame about that? What is a real shame about that is Gareth Edwards went to the trouble of shooting it on 35mm film in real locations.
Yeah,
but there's not one in-camera dinosaur animatronic or model or miniature or anything in it. It is all CG, and man, you can tell.
Yeah, you can
so tell. The bit when the guy stood by the leg, if they'd only built the leg, that would have been amazing. That would have been.
So we've all seen, haven't we, that huge leg that
in the first one.
God. I love all that stuff.
It's a shame because, as I said, he filmed it in real locations on 35mm film, but sadly, there's not one in camera.
But it also
that director Why hire that particular guy if because he always does that, doesn't he? To be fair,
but do you know? Again, I would just say this for the Superman movie, the flying didn't feel. If only they did one shot with him really flying. Do you know what I mean? On wires, then I would have believed it more. But it was just too CGI. He was flying and the camera was following him. It's like, a camera can't follow him that close that way unless it's a super drone or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It just felt wrong, the flying stuff in the film. But anyway,
watch this
again,
one.
for me, the problem I have is when things are generic and they feel like everything else. And in most respects, I feel that film didn't feel like everything else. It did feel markedly different from the Marvel stuff. Apart from that stuff, I thought, well, here's an opportunity. A character, as I say, I can live with the uniform. I don't hate the Superman costume, but I don't look at it and sit back and think, wow. It doesn't. Yeah, but I couldn't stand the Henry Cavill one, so I haven't seen a Superman suit that I really liked for quite a long time.
Wasn't he? Henry Cavill was walking around like this.
It looks ridiculous. Yeah, it's like in that I love the Daniel Craig James Bond films, but in one of them, I think it's Skyfall, his suit is so tight. It looks like he's been sewn into it, and it looks ridiculous.
Do you know that? Do you know the Henry Cavill suit had? Henry built himself up, so he had muscles, but in the suit it had muscles as well. So it was muscle on top of false muscles, which is crazy.
And I think that the things have moved away from that kind of stuff now. I mean, Corin Sweat is a considerably bigger person. I think he's way taller, and broader than Cavill. But he's got like the dimple. I'm trying to picture. Has he got like dimples or something like that? He looks a bit more, a little more clean cut. But when that curl drops and he looks pissed, he looks at the same time. He still looks quite fresh faced and youthful. But he looks like he means it, and that's what I like about it. Lucy Meow in the live chat, and Mark, and Dalek Lives Matter. Also talking about the Supergirl that's to come. Lucy says, I'm not convinced that slutty. I don't think she's meant to be slutty.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
It really works for me. She's not meant to be necessarily slutty, but obviously it's a very particular take on the character. Not sure it's going to work for me. And I think that's the fact that you feel that way is exciting. And I think it's bold of Gunn to go with that particular story and think, okay, this is going to be a version of the character which may not be to everybody's taste or Mark's taste. It doesn't scream fun to Mark to see a drunk party girl. Mate, you've been going to the wrong parties. But you've got Dalek Lives Matter who says that Supergirl's going to be fun, Judge. So again, you're going to see some people who've, it's that kind of thing. And say what you like about about looking at long-standing characters in this way, you can't say it's not brave. I would never, as I say, I'm not the biggest Gunn fan in the world, but he is brave with these choices.
And they need to give Corn Sweat a cameo in the Supergirl.
No, he will.
Just for the continuity.
I would imagine he will be.
He'll be in it.
Soma is disappointed that not been as much interaction with the chat. But, to be fair, there's not been a great deal that's been said in the chat. We bring the messages up when they're relevant to the topic. We stay on topic on this show, and so there hasn't been a great deal. I say people have enjoyed the chat. It's there for multiple different reasons, but we keep the comments always on topic. This show has to stay on topic because it's about a very specific thing.
I love your icons.
For example, again, what do we think of Super Friends and the animated? This is a review of this version of Superman. That is a show in itself, Somar. But thank you so much for spending some time with us. Dave, I think I've got that.
You do. I know you do.
Because it's got a documentary about Lou Scheimer and Filmation.
Yep.
It's got a. Yeah, but it's the same general design, but the logos are different. Yeah, it's fantastic.
And the 88 Superman is also really cool.
That's the Ruby Spears one, isn't it?
Yep, it is.
Got that too. Yeah, I've got them all. Love them all. David Milling. Hi, David. Very late to the stream. Just heard your point. Not sure if you like it, Dan. Is this something you would go again? Yes, I did really like it, but it wasn't the film I thought I was going to get, and I wouldn't describe it as a divisive film, but I think it was a very bold film. I mean, you heard Ian's reaction. Ian's reaction is perfectly valid, and the things that Keith said perfectly valid, and the fact that he's not willing to upset people like that, but willing to make those choices, I think that'll work out, very well in the long run, I believe. Let's see what else we've got. I'm very conscious of the fact I've just cut off half of Keith and Ian's faces. I don't like doing that. So
That's all right.
It's better.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to my icon.
A cheap gimmick, says Lucy Meow. They're all cheap gimmicks on this show, Lucy. You'll get used to it. And Mark says, we did. If you know your comics, you know Ultraman is an alt version of Superman. Yes, from Earth.
Yeah, I didn't know that at all.
Earth 3.
There's a lot of stuff I don't know about Superman.
Grant Morrison's the one to look at it most. God, I bet that graphic novel's 20 years old, but all those original crossover comics, I just loved them when I was a kid. Power Ring, all those characters. Owlman, was it Owlman?
It was Owlman.
I loved them all. I couldn't get enough of it.
You fall asleep during the day. Wakes up in the night.
Fall asleep during the day. You want to fall asleep? You've got your cure for insomnia right here with the Spacebook Live on Rumble and on YouTube. We try our best to be your companion here through Saturday night. Guys, thank you for getting into this with me on this special stream. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this movie.
Yeah,
and I really enjoyed the conversation. I've wanted to talk about it all week, and I'm just really glad you all turned up. And it was a laugh. It's always good. I mean, I'd have put money on you not liking it, Ian, but it's fine.
The thing is, I don't take you know me. I don't take things personally. I always take it professionally. Put it that way.
I'd have liked you to have liked it, because I know
I wanted to like
how
it.
much. Yeah. So it's, I'm always when my mates haven't enjoyed something, and it's like when I haven't enjoyed something and other people have, I feel a bit sort of, but they can't please all the people all the time with this stuff, can they? But how have you been in general, Ian? I understand that Rebecca Gold is you're working on that.
It's almost done. I need to do the credits and some bit of graphics, but it's all the edit is locked. So that's good. So hopefully towards the end of September, beginning of October, there'll be a screening, and then just to say thank you to everyone that's actually helped me on this, and then away we go after that. So yeah.
Ian's having a hard time deciding on how big the font of directed by Ian David Diaz should be. So that's where he's stuck right now.
That's going to be Ian David Diaz's Rebecca Gunn, just like James Gunn Superman.
Locked and loaded.
Yeah,
it's definitely locked and loaded. And it's always great to have you back on as well, Keith. We regularly talk about physical media on this show, and I can't remember if you were on the last one or not, but it's always a pleasure to have your guidance, I think, through all of that. But what's on your radar for the rest of the month? Is there anything that you've got on pre-order that you would say, if you can't make it back before we do the next one, what would you advise people that they may have missed to jump on before it sells out? Is there anything, any title you're looking forward to getting?
I wish I had an answer to that. Unfortunately, I'm kind of a bit behind with it all, because simply time and money and and storage, money and storage has meant that I haven't bought a great deal recently. I did buy for a friend as a gift, and I'm kind of jealous because I bought them one and I haven't got one myself. Is Titans of Cult recently did a John Wick steelbook collector's set edition, and I bought a friend that, and now it's like sort of doubled in price already. So it's like, damn it. So that's like quite a nicely presented set in terms of bits and pieces that you get with it and packaging and all.
Does it have all of them on it?
I don't know. It's just the first film. It's just the first film.
Right.
I don't know whether there's any like exclusive bonus features, but I think it's got the bonus features from previous releases, and it is a 4K UHD with HDR and all of that stuff. But but that's been out for a little while now, so can't think of what's next. I don't know. That's a good question.
Quite surprised Gary hasn't got it yet. Have you got it,
It's
Gary?
always hard to judge
What,
the
the
things they're
John
going to
Wick?
sell out or not.
The John Wick one?
Yeah.
No, I
Titan
don't have that one.
There
Yeah.
you go.
I was going to ask Keith. Keith, did you see Ballerina? Did you think that was good?
I did. Yeah, no, I saw it and I really enjoyed it actually. Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
I thought it was great. I had
was
fun with
fun.
it. Anna de Armas, you know, I could watch her all day. What can I
Oh yeah,
say?
no kidding.
But no, I mean, I was a little bit confused about, you know, where
The
it's sort of
timeline.
taken to the mythology
Yeah.
slightly, but essentially it's between the third and fourth.
It's a big flop, though, Keith, wasn't it?
Yeah, apparently
Oh,
it hasn't
really?
done very well.
Yeah, it doesn't
Wow.
done very well at all.
I'll probably get that in for Christmas now. I've got the whole 4K.
It's worth
set
watching.
up at last.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, but unfortunately,
Those films are as daft as a brush, but I do like
yeah,
them. You know,
yeah.
if they brought out one every year, I'd probably. It's like the Fast and the Furious stuff. They just brought them out too quickly, and so I saw through it with these John Wick things. You know, as long as I don't rewatch them all the time, you know,
Yeah.
they still hold their appeal.
I think there was a problem with it as well because the original director did a version, and then the stunt guys that actually own it, they looked at it and they said there was enough action in it, so they reshot stuff and re-edited and stuff like that. So what you see is not the director's version; it's who's the guy that did John Wick? It's his version.
Len Wiseman
Chad
was the main
Stolowitsky.
director.
Yeah,
They brought in one of the
brought him in, didn't they? Yeah.
directors.
Have there been any franchise spin-offs that have actually done well? That Rock spin-off from Fast and the Furious didn't do anything.
Oh, that was
So-
garbage. That was
Yeah,
right.
it
But
was.
I'm so maybe they're just maybe the spin-offs. They should just kind of
The
dial
TV
those back.
shows have done
thing
well,
is,
right?
No, the TV show. Was
No?
a flop, I've heard.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've heard
The Continental with
Continental.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Was it Mel
Mel
Gibson in
Gibson.
that?
Mel Gibson. Yeah. Well, this is the trouble. Okay, when it comes to DC and Marvel and stuff, right? You've got literally hundreds of characters. I mean, they stuffed half of them in Superman, right? But you've got literally hundreds of characters to pull from. So having these crossover cinematic universes on different mediums and stuff kind of works. But when they try and do this, is what I'm worried about with Amazon, with Bond, for example.
Oh God.
And the same, you know, John Wick is not an ensemble piece. It's
not.
It's that character, and I don't know. Everybody now wants a shared universe, a cinematic universe, and not all material offers itself up to that, in my opinion.
I agree. I agree.
Having not seen it, I don't.
Because it's all about money, isn't it? So
Yeah, it is. At the end of the day.
But,
I can see the logic in them thinking, okay, well,
It's not
we
me.
only make one of these. We only make one of these films every 3 years. Wouldn't it be cool if we could have one out a bit more frequently?
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to. Yeah, but like you said,
I
they did
get
try
it. I
TV show
totally.
as well.
I understand. It's like everything in this whole thing. You've got commerce versus art, and there's those two things are always like, you know, when they work, but it's sometimes things get diluted and forced and hurried, and we've seen it. I mean, DC is a prime example. You know, like, okay, James Gunn is now trying to pull it together and actually get some cohesion to it, but you think that revolving door at DC over the last 15-20 years, you know, the whole trying to catch up with Marvel and
Yeah,
you know,
was a
starting this and then it goes on hold and they finish that, and they don't, you know, since the Nolan Batman series, we've not really had a conclusion to anything DC. It's all been setups with no payoffs, and let's hope we're on a different path now.
I suspect, though, that Gunn really just wanted to make a Superman movie, and then the people above said, "Well, we gotta have this person, and we gotta have the DC universe." Maybe that's what happened. I don't know.
At least we got a proper conclusion to Superman and Lois. I keep saying this. That show is so good, and it ends so
Spoilers,
well.
did he not die at the end?
I'm not saying.
Smallville worked its way to that
Yeah,
was
it
allowed
did,
to finish as well,
Yeah.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
That wasn't just axed.
No.
And I think that's the Lois and Clark. If I remember correctly, they did want to carry that on. They were given enough notice. They were able to conclude it effectively, but they were still shocked they believe they're going to get another couple of
Yeah,
years.
they had a 6 or 7 season plan for it.
So
it was still doing well in the ratings. It was still doing well in the ratings. I think they just axed it for the Gunn stuff.
Yeah, they
and
did.
The Doomsday design was just like the comics. Just like
awesome. Better than the one in Batman v Superman.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, it was seriously that's been, I've enjoyed that so much, the Superman and Lois series. And I never would have thought when those two, actors were introduced in the Arrowverse, I thought, oh, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
They just ignored that section, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. They made it its own thing, and really, really nicely done show. If you're into Superman,
good,
really.
Yeah, I saw the first season, if you remember, because we talked about it on here before, but I wasn't able to keep up with it. So I'll probably, when a complete box set comes out, I know there's a DVD set of that out, but I prefer
available.
But I prefer a Blu-ray, and apparently there's no Blu-ray in Britain.
Really? Oh,
you can buy. I think you can get individual seasons on Blu-ray, but not a complete series box set. So now I'm thinking, well,
I should know this, shouldn't I?
I'd rather have them. I try not to buy anything on DVD now. Buy it on because there's the price difference is negligible between DVD and Blu-ray. Yeah. So if I can get a Blu-ray option particularly when a series is complete, I want it to take up as little space as possible and to include literally everything. And then I won't have to think about it again.
I'm trying to find out whether I'm actually looking online now to see.
The thing that annoys me about Blu-ray is it's not like DVD. DVD is so simple. You put it in, you see the menu, you press, and it plays. Blu-ray, you put it in, and it just revving up. It's like, you're like, well, what is this? You know what I mean? They couldn't fix that. How many years have we had Blu-ray?
I thought you were going to say, Ian, that with Blu-ray you have to go through like 15 menus to get to the actual menu.
Yeah, sometimes it's like that, though. Sometimes.
You didn't need to rev up the Galactica, did you, back in the day? That's all you needed to do was sort of put your foot on the right pedal. Keep an eye on the clock because it was
John Dykes
lunchtime.
John Dykes made a crap load of money in that era because everybody was after him, wasn't he? So
I still have a crush on Athena and Cassiopeia from that series.
Oh, everybody does. Come on.
For me, it was always Jane Seymour.
Oh, you like Jane Seymour?
Really?
Oh, wow.
Jane Seymour,
my God. I've seen The Wedding Crashers about 15 times.
Right.
Wow.
Okay.
I love Jane Seymour. Even now, I probably would, come to think of it. Yeah, I love Jane Seymour, particularly in Battlestar Galactica. It's those tight cords and the way her hair is just over the one shoulder. Yes. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, there we go. So what are we doing and when do we do it? When do we do it? Yes, this is the Spacebook Live, Saturdays from 8 p.m. here, talking all out there entertainment. The last few weeks, we've been back with a set of special dedicated shows to various things. Our physical media week, for example. We did a whole show focused on Bond. That was a laugh as well. There was our Jaws 50th anniversary stream too. Loved doing that. We're going to have to go back and do Jaws 2 and do the various other ones as well. What's coming next when the regular show returns? A bit of everything and a bit of the other. As always, particularly when the rabbi from another planet is involved. As I always say, if you don't know where to find the rabbi... if you don't know where to find the rabbi from another planet by now, you never will. But
just open your window and listen. You'll hear him.
He's over there on X as well, putting the world to rights on a regular basis with the blessing of Elon Musk and obviously his YouTube channel as well. Live streams most days, lots of videos too. Always with the gloves proper off. That's the rabbi from another planet. Our friend Bowles Trek as well. Chris. By all X, he didn't want to hear any spoilers.
I'd love to know what he thinks of it. I'd love to know his opinion. When
I think he's going to like it because it's got a dog in it.
He'll
Come
like
on,
Crypto.
he like Crypto. Yeah,
he does like the pooches. Does Chris? He'll be back. Chris is on every week, pretty much. I don't think he's done. Yeah, I think he's back next time. Should be. So we'll find out what he thought when we. Hope he gets to see it. We'll find out what he thought when we catch up with Chris. Thank you guys again for your company. Keith, I've got to get one of those mugs. I don't. Should I go for the badge or the mug? Definitely want the mug.
The mug, definitely.
Yeah,
the mug.
I think it's have to be the mug.
Both.
I don't know. I'll catch up with you as well on social media, Ian. We're keeping tuned, staying alert for whenever Rebecca Gold 2 is on the way.
Yeah.
Well worth the wait, I'm sure.
And you can tear it apart.
No.
All of you are tear it apart.
No.
So, you know, if you think I deserve it, then come on, bring it on. That's all I can say.
Can I say really quickly? Yeah. I am consumed with envy after that picture that Ian posted on Facebook this morning, where you were flanked by two gorgeous
that was ages
actresses.
ago. Yeah. That was
really?
Allison and Katie when we first started.
I took that picture, I believe.
You did. You took that picture.
It was a rehearsal day.
It was
the Actors Centre, wasn't it?
Yeah. Does that still standing, by the way, or have they knocked that down? The Actors Centre.
It's changed, but it's still there, I think.
Right, okay.
It's different, I think. I don't know.
They knew once they had you doing that there, they thought we can close up now.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Don't want him back again. That's what I thought.
If you want to hear more from me, please come and connect with me on social media. I'm over on X, putting the world to rights, sort of. Movies, TV, comic books, pop music, just whatever pops into my mind that morning or early evening. I tend to have these two spots in the day where I go on X. And so you get a bit of everything in there, sometimes drifting into politics and all that kind of stuff. So you do get, an example, I suppose, of my kind of values: truth, justice, and the Black Country way, if there is such a thing. If there isn't, we can start the campaign for that right here. But this has been the Spacebook Live. Thank you, everybody, for your company. Hope to have you all back sooner rather than later. As for Superman, if you haven't seen it, get out there and get it seen. It's going to be hanging around for a little while longer. I can't see them putting it on streaming quite as soon as the rumors say. But we'll see you out there somewhere. Until the next time, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.